Good evening, chat. Hello. Hello. It is Thursday night. So you know what? It's time for the Thursday night show. Once again, what better night to do the Thursday night show than Thursday night? So welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday night. It's almost the weekend again. If you are a communist, socialist, or other sort of collectivist, happy May Day, you commie bastards. May your helicopter rides be always free. As for the rest of us, though, you know, wake up, wake up. It is the first of the month. So congratulations. The rent is due and your welfare checks go out. So life is good. But welcome to the show, guys. If you guys are here, my name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I'm an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And we are going to get started. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Shouldn't be too long of a show, but there's a bunch of interesting stuff going down. One of the biggest things is obviously what's going on at Diddy, but also what happened to the California bar. Then we got some funnier things that are going along there as well. We are live tonight also over on Twitter, Rumble. Rumble should be up, and here on YouTube. And I was going to say last but not least locals, but I don't have. Last but not least, locals. We are also live tonight on locals, guys. And if you don't know what locals is everything people wanted Patreon to be, without all the garbage involved, without all the garbage and nonsense involved. So over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com, you can join up over there. And it's just like Patreon. It costs you nothing to join. Nothing to join. You can post on the wall. You can hang out there. It's a fun time in all of that regard. If you are a member, and if you are a free member, you also get to take part in the Thursday night live chats, which we have going as soon as I get it. It's the live chat you can do while we're out here, and you can say whatever you want over there because YouTube, you know, there's no limitations. If you have to say something I can laugh at and chuckle about, we'll definitely take a look at it. But otherwise, you can hang out over there. If you wish to join and support me there, it's $3 a month. Pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. Excuse me, chat. You pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. With that payment, you get access to the live shows. We do 2 live shows a week. We do a Monday night show starting about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then we do a Thursday night show. Right after this, we get to hang out for a while. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. If there's Formula One, we hang out during the race. If Mr. Medica goes live, we hang out and watch him. I will just mention with the Monday stuff, we're going to have to figure out something new during the Karen Reed trial, probably like Sunday nights, just because Karen Reed goes like a full day and we need to catch up and actually do it. So that's probably going to be the game plan going forward. But if you guys are interested, you want to try it out, use the promo code WHIPIT. We'll get you 1 month free access to everything. That's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Hope to see you guys there. Oh, so how are you guys doing out here now? Let's see here. It's just dudes being dudes then? Yes. Bros being bros. Yes, the Miami Grand Prix and Daddy Jim are this weekend. Now, let's see. Coming to the stage. Thank you, KLF. Yes. Sean motherfucking Martin. Thank you. Mystery Sniper says, I get my checks at the end of the month, bish. My tugboat comes in at the end of the month, bish. Amateur Iconoclast, been a member for 16 months. Thank you. That's I've said it before, chat. I appreciate even if you guys have been here, I know a lot of you have, and not all of you have been able to be members this whole time. I still appreciate all of you, but just being able to see those numbers, like I said, it's always a humbling thing. Remember, for 16 months. It says, Happy Helicopter Appreciation Day, everybody. That's right. That's right. That's right. Helicopter Appreciation Day. Standing on a corner, straight slinging rock. Yeah. Yep. David from Making Law Simple. How you doing, David? Guys, if you haven't seen David over there, give him a look. He does great stuff over there. Right now, he is covering the Christopher Schur trial. We covered the preliminary hearings in his case, and just because it happened in the middle of Karen Reed, I didn't want to switch horses in the middle of the race. Christopher Schur is a very important case. The guy got railroaded. I think he's a police officer in Michigan. He tried to arrest a guy. The guy didn't want to be arrested. And remember, one of the rules is take your pinch like a man, because you're not going to win the street fight. And they will kill you if they have to. Well, he grabbed Officer Schur's taser, and while they were wrestling, Officer Schur grabbed him by the back and right into the back of the head, which I think was fair and reasonable. Don't grab his taser. Take your fucking arrest. So he's been charged with murder. He's fighting for his freedom right now. But I just didn't want to skip away from Karen Reed. I mean, guys, Karen Reed is some good stuff. It's a good story, and I think it needs to be told. And honestly, I like to watch it, so that's why we're watching it. It's my channel. I'll do what I want. But David does great stuff over there also. Besides that, he does his Lego streams. I think he's probably got some other stuff coming up as well. So give him a look if you want to see a different trial that's been going on. Also, some people asked, we will be going over the Turtle Boy hearing that he had this week, which turned into a surprise bond revocation hearing, which he survived. But we'll take a look at that over this weekend, because it is pretty interesting from what I've been told. I have not seen it yet. But I thank you for being here, David. Thank you for the super chat. Sula says, my brother's passed a California bar in 1991. High as fuck. Well, I could see that. Yes, potentiallycriminal.locals.com/feed. Yes. Locals is Patreon with extra racism. Sign up now. Yes, well, that is there, too. That is there, chat. I'm not going to lie. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. What was the live chat drama I saw from Melissa clips? Somebody who I guess thought they were smart, didn't read the terms of service of the thing they signed up for, and now he's crying about that. I don't know. That's really all that is. So let's see what else we got. Also, guys, we give a couple minutes for people to get in here just because it takes a little while. The Chugi show is late because I was arguing with Baldo washers in my Twitter comments. Well, I don't know if they're Baldo washers. They're just like really fucking lazy sock accounts. Not even good ones. EDW Raptor for $5 says, Happy International Workers' Day, Comrade Sean. That'd be Tavarish. He didn't say Tavarish. You want to just say Comrade. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Skeeve Man. It's been a member for 6 months. Thank you for the support. Says, I got a free chat. Nice. Do you have a license for that free chat, sir? Important to have one. Imagine this is witty. Hi. Why don't you go like hello, hello, or bow wah, something. Mikey is a new member. Mikey, thank you for being here. Thank you. I appreciate your support and joining up to get rid of the grays and making chat green again. We are MAGA over here, but it's all about making chat green again. Pepsi Man's been a member for 8 months. Thoughts on Razer Cuck suing Keno Casino and Smash JT? I looked into this, just the slightest little bit. Kept on suing people across, national lines. That's already going to be a task in and of itself. It's going to be very expensive in Canada. So I don't know. I mean, but isn't part of Razer Fist issue? There's some sketchy shit that went on. I'm not isn't there some issues about the math adds up? The math is compliant. It's legal math. But the way the story kind of unfolds from what I've read on the farms a little bit, you're like, you don't know about this. You're just like, it's a little iffy there. And you're like, oh boy. So, that's what I was missing. I can't knock my glasses cleaners off hold on, did she? Yeah, she did. No, that's why I was wondering. Don't worry, I could find my glass cleaners. Oh, do we have a guest? All right, buddy. Come here. Hi, buddy. Say, guys, hello. We have our guest host with us now. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen enough to know yet. And I don't know what he was crying about. So maybe. Unknown Hero for 5 subs, chat. That's right. Coming out of nowhere with 5 subs, telling these grays to keep moving. This is a green neighborhood. Oh, and Hunch the Dirty Roofer over on Rumble. Gifting, it won't show up over here. Damn it, I can't get it to load, but gifting 5 subscriptions over on Rumble. We got it. I didn't even know I had those activated over there. So, interesting. Interesting. But you know what? People are doing their part, chat. Doing their part to make this chat green.
See this? That means not welcome.
That's right, chat. You see this on Clyde? It means not welcome. He's like, that's right. Keep moving. Tio Hank says, you should go on MLC. Kevin Brennan needs a real talk on legal matters. Well, I mean, after I saw how he handled his police stop, yeah, he might need some advice there, but well, I mean, I don't know what his legal issues are right now, but yeah, maybe he does need one. All right, buddy, I got to put you down. I got to get back to running the computer here. You got anything you want to say? Huh? No? No, he's like, I'm good. He's like, I'm good right now. I'm like, okay, buddy. Wait, hold on. What's that? He's saying afuera, rough. Afuera, rough. Afuera. So I guess Clyde, here you go, Clyde. Clyde is saying afuera. So keep it in mind, chat. Afuera. Let's see here. Oh, what did I miss? Hold on. Yes, afuera. Is it 1 R or 2 R's? I'm not sure. All right, some of you guys are getting ridiculous. Clyde is so high right now. I bet he is. I don't know how many weed treats you gave him, but it's from what I can tell, a lot. All right. Pleading for a Clyde sighting, says Schnauzer Patrol. Well, you kind of got it already. There you go, chat. And Chugi Show says, if you made a sandwich, a call to the Nevada or the Nevada or the Nevada, what would you put on it? I don't know. I don't know. Barbecue pork. I don't know. Something. Did I see what you said about the suppressor on the 4-bore gun? I did, and I tried to. If there's a video of that, I kind of want to see it because that looks pretty neat. I don't know how long it'll last, but that'll be neat there. Siller says, who ended up being right about the Unabomber jacket? I don't know because I haven't looked for it yet. So probably still me. Kimbo is saying, I've been advised to preserve all my emails and communications with my other operatives. Well, then don't destroy them. Don't destroy them. Preservation notices are no joke. And then Get Off the Gray says, I'll still stay subscribed and a viewer even though you hate me for my gray supremacy. Well, you know, I'm sorry, but it's what I do. I detest it. Your grayness siccates me. My supremacy beats your white beard supremacy. Well, besides, I got that all cleaned up today, so it should look nice and clean. And tomorrow, I got my hair did, so it should look really good tomorrow. So, let me see. Oh, Whoorix made the 4-bore suppressor. Oh, it's for Kentucky Ballistics? All right, I'll look for that on YouTube then. That should be pretty good. I really like Scott's stuff. Scott does, like, he's funny and goofy, but like you go into it knowing that. So I really enjoy his channel. I really enjoy his channel for that purpose. Kentucky Ballistics does good stuff out there, chat. Oh, I forgot to bring this over. Oh, I see you guys are talking about stuff on Twitter over in the locals chat. Not getting into all that. Oh, wow. You guys are... Yeah, you guys are talking about... Hold on here. What is this? Okay, if you guys want, like, I guess we'll talk about this because this could be a potential issue. This is 18 minutes, but I guess we'll talk about, because this looks like it's a potential legal issue coming forward. Razer Fist, who is a YouTube commentator and culture war commentator, is Cookman for me. Yes, Cookman's a good one. I mean, Brass Facts, Focus Trip, they're all great. Ben Stoger's great channel. They're all great on their own. They're all great. They're all great and hilarious to watch. But anyways, apparently Razer Fist is some shit went down. I guess we'll take a look at this real quick to see what it's about. So here we go.
One and only time I've ever addressed these fatuous accusations. On the subject of defamatory nonsense, particularly promulgated by the Perma Online Brigade, I tend to hold with a quote from the great John Milton. The best apology for false accusers is silence, sufferance, and honest deeds set against dishonest words. But I also knew that while the accusations were libelous and shockingly simple to disprove, they were also...
It's a little quiet. Hold on. I'll try to... All right, Chad, I'm going to put the volume booster on, so mind yourself.
Entirely too lurid for some talent-bereft drama hump and half-wits not to make the mistake of attaching their channels, reputations, and indeed their entire careers to, after which I would drop my reams upon reams of receipts and end their careers overnight. So I hope you fellas enjoyed the 2-week victory lap I allowed you all to have, because now karma comes to collect. And if you thought Pro Jared had receipts to prove his innocence, buckle up, bitch. Fortunately for me, I don't even really need all of that exculpatory proof to disprove the most serious of these claims, because as many of my fans have already helpfully pointed out, the available timeline already disproves them. If I were to allege that Elon Musk robbed a jewelry store on June 13th at 6 o'clock p.m., seems to me step one in establishing or annihilating that allegation would be to check the surveillance footage on June 13th at 6 o'clock on the dot. So, as internet sleuths have already deduced, due to the age and birth date of the accuser, in order for this relationship to have occurred when they say it did, I would have had to be dating this person in or throughout 2015. Any later than this, and the entire timeline collapses. Fortunately for me, 2015 was also significant in that it's the same year I began streaming in earnest. The name of that series is Razer Fist Arcade, and the entire thing is publicly available in a single handy playlist on my channel's front page, and has been since 2015. In fact, if you click on only the third video on that playlist, a live stream of the game Thief 4 that originally aired on March 18th, 2015, you can disprove these allegations within about 30 seconds. Because at that point in the video...
Okay, so I know it's basically he's getting the allegations. People are claiming he's a pedo and that he was dating an underage girl and all kinds of stuff going back to 2015. That's kind of like the long and the short of it. So apparently he's having a little bit of a crash out. And honestly, if you're going to do it, do it. Send out your cease and desist, send out your lawsuit. Like, don't, when it's time to shoot, shoot. Don't talk. So if you're going to do it, do it. If you're not going to do it, fine. But like, don't do this. Because this gets kind of cringe after about 5 minutes. We're not listening to all 18 minutes of this. You made your point. Now, go fucking do it or shut the fuck up. So we'll see. And yes, he's alleging Smash JT and the casino are going down. I don't know. We'll see if that happens. The casino's pretty resilient. So, yeah, I would argue he pretty much did this to himself. So, yeah, it's 18 minutes long. We are not watching the whole thing. So anyways, we'll see what he does. I mean, if he's going to get up and fight about it, great. We'll cover it. If he's not, then I guess we're not covering it. So the house always wins. Well, Razer Fist is almost as cringe as me. Well, I don't know. I mean, he's in color right now. That means he's super serial. So that's how you know he's super serious, because he's in color. All right. So we got that out of the way. That's just a preview of things to come. Yes. Shoot yourself in the foot. God damn you, Warski. All right. Kind of ironic given he had the best defense of Michael Jackson. Yeah, actually, his arguments kind of swayed me over, too. I will say. Gabe Hoffman will protect the casino. Yes. Yes, that's the thing. It's like, Mr. Razer Fist, do you know the story of Gabe Hoffman? And it's like, no. It's like, oh, it's a story you need to learn. All right. So moving on from there. Mark Carney will protect the casino. Yes. Gabe Hoffman did get involved in this already? Really? I wasn't sure, but okay. All right. All right. So here we go. Let's move on from this. P. Diddy. If you guys were not aware, his trial starts next week. And there's some things that came out. They had a pretrial hearing this past week. A lot of stuff has gone on. They were in a pretrial earlier this week, and there was a plea deal that he rejected. Nobody knows the elements of the plea deal, but he does. He did reject a plea deal for federal prosecutors, and his trial is going to happen. So he's pled not guilty to the main charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution, which is the Mann Act. We've talked about this before, what happened with his indictment. This is actually proceeding along pretty fast. And yes, his defense attorney said they discussed the offer and rejected it. The lead prosecutor in this case, Assistant U.S. Attorney Maureen Comey. You're like, Comey. That name sounds familiar. That's because it's James Comey's daughter. You're like, yes, that James Comey. That is the same James Comey. So they mentioned he would give a lighter sentence than he would receive if he's found guilty. That doesn't really mean much because let's say, you're looking at life and they offer you 60 years. Is that really any better? 25 years, is that really any better? No. Now, they are getting ready to do jury selection. The judge wanted to be able to do a jury of 12 plus 6 alternates. And remember, at the federal level, you get 12 jurors. They'll have 6 alternates. They're going to call 50 jurors each day. And they're going to, kind of do them, one at a, they're going to go through there at a time. They're going to narrow it down to 45 people who will be interviewed separately with 2 attorneys from each side present, which you do in a situation like this. There's over 600 jurors coming there. They'll find out what happens. There are some additional attorneys that have been added to the team, and the prosecutors want to know who they are, which I think is hilarious because what does it matter? What does it matter who these attorneys are? Kick their ass or shut the fuck up. But one of the new attorneys is a guy named Xavier Donaldson, who's been in several previous hearings. Also, Brian Steele from the YSL case about 2 weeks ago threw his hat into the ring on the Diddy side. So is that going to lead to anything for him? I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if Brian Steele's there more as a consultant than anything, but we'll see what happens. So the plea deal has not been made public. There is an interesting thing it looks like that Diddy's team is trying to do. And remember, guys, we don't know everything that happens in court, but we do know about some things that have happened. And one of those things that's happened here is that Diddy is going to be trying for some interesting defense options. And one of them is going to be an argument that he didn't have the proper mens rea or knowledge or mental state to commit the crimes. So this was just filed recently by the U.S. government, and it's their motion in limine to preclude the testimony of Dr. Eli Aoun. Now, what is this all about? Well, you can see here, there's some information here. The basic things. They talk about the Insanity Defense Reform Act of 1984. That's a federal law. They talk about the rules of criminal procedure. There's obviously the rules of evidence. We won't get into those too much. But they talk about who this doctor is and what's going on here. And it's not very long, but I do think it's worth reading through. Because if you guys want an idea of what's going to happen, this is going to be a great way for you to understand. So the defense wants to do the diminished capacity, saying he didn't have the mens rea required to commit the charged offenses. They want to do this. They bring up there's issues though. This expert wasn't properly noticed pursuant to the rules, and the court can exclude that testimony. But even if they're properly noticed, this runs afoul of the Insanity Defense Reform Act of 1985 and the relevant prejudicial and impermissible under the rules of evidence. So they go back to the beginning of the case. Back in October, within a month of his arrest, the government first requested written notice of whether the defense intended to introduce expert testimony relating to a mental disease defect or other condition. And the government wanted such time to prepare, which would give them to February as required. They never provided any information. And then in March, the day the expert notices were due, the defendant sought permission from the court to provide late expert notice for a purported pharmacology expert who could explain the medical records and what they mean in terms of prescription medications and the like, which is going to be difficult because typically when you're on medications, there's the idea of voluntary intoxication. Now, voluntary intoxication is the idea that, for example, if I go out and chug a bunch of beers and then something happens, I'm responsible as I voluntarily intoxicated myself. Now, if you take a bunch of medicine and they cause a side effect nobody was aware of or not prepared for, well, then it becomes an issue of, is that voluntary or involuntary intoxication? And then also, chat, there's something to think about, things like Ambien. People have heard about the Ambien walrus. They know about the things that happen when you're on Ambien. So would you argue that then again is involuntary or is it voluntary? Because once you know it's a possibility, how does that work? How does that work? And those are all important questions to consider. And so they said the government did not object to the request. And they said without providing additional notice, they later requested a second extension to provide notice. And finally, on March 31st, they provided the expert notice. And as set forth, and here we get into the redactions, chat. So we don't know everything, but once again, we can kind of infer. Ellie Aoun is an assistant professor of clinical psychiatry at Columbia and a forensic psychiatrist in New York City. And according to the expert notice, Dr. Aoun reviewed some sort of records. He did not examine Diddy. On the basis of the records reviewed as well as training experience, Dr. Aoun is expected to testify to blank, 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 probably that Diddy had some sort of diminished capacity for what he was on. It wasn't necessarily his intention. I think probably among other things that are going to happen there. We don't really know, though. We don't know, and that's part of the issue. And we keep going on, like, look at all these beautiful redactions. So they argued that the rules, they disputed that these rules are implicated, and they noted that they could also be used by a government rebuttal expert if they wanted to. And then they get into this thing, and this is where it gets interesting under federal law. So you have the Insanity Defense Reform Act. And here it makes it clear, unless the defendant puts forth an insanity defense, Diddy has not done that yet. I double-checked through the PACER filings. There is no evidence of that being filed specifically. And then you have to prove by clear and convincing evidence. Mental disease or defect does not otherwise constitute a defense. Now, remember, not every place lets you do mental disease or defect or infirmity as a defense. The feds do allow it, but you have to comply with the law. They point out the statute is limited. They point out the statute has eliminated all other affirmative defense or mitigation evidence predicated on existence of a mental defect. But the only way to get around that is if you submit mental health evidence for the purpose of rebutting the proof of the mens rea element of a specific intent crime. So there are ways to do it. The admission of such evidence should be permitted only in rare and narrowly defined circumstances. So that is where we're at. Like, this is what Diddy's going to have to do, and it doesn't look like Diddy's fully done this yet. And I'm sure trying to go to Diddy initially and tell him, well, we're going to have to plead insanity, I'm sure Diddy got all upset and didn't want to say, I don't want people to think I'm insane. I'm Diddy. I'm hip. I'm cool. I'm not a nerd. I'm sane. So they point out accordingly when confronted, court should be extremely cautious. And they say this caution is warranted due to the high likelihood that such evidence, even if characterized strictly relevant to negate intent, will resurrect precisely the kinds of defenses that the Defense Reform Act was enacted to prohibit. Now, there is other things here where that you have to demonstrate in advance of trial. There's a direct link between your evidence and your mens rea. The government must prove. And they point out there's a lot of issues here. So it's going to be interesting. So not only does Diddy have these issues, there's issues about notice. And this is a very common thing. So, for example, Ohio has a very similar rule, 12.2, where if I want to notify self-defense, I have to notify that. If I'm notifying under alibi, I have to notify certain ways. If I'm going to try to plead insanity, obviously we need to go do it a certain way. But there are certain defenses, if you raise them, you have to plead them properly, and you have to provide notice for them. In fact, I have a case coming up where we're going to be arguing duress as a defense. My client wants to argue duress. I'm like, all right, that's fine. We'll make our arguments for duress. And I spoke to the prosecutor. I'm like, hey, just so you know, and I mentioned it in court on the record, we're going to be talking about duress. And, you know, the judge had to stop for a second, and he had to pop open the rule book and say, is that one of the ones? And then he had to take a minute and fire up his computer and like, is that one of the ones where he requires a written notice? And I said, based on my research, no. And the judge actually agreed with us. And he said, you know, he put it in the entry, like, no, we don't need that. So it's all good. I did it ahead of time just to, you know, you protect yourself, protect your client. But there are times where you have to provide notice. So, you know, and this gets to the point of you must provide the notice to the government within the time provided or later times that the court sets. And that's because they have the right to prepare. They have the right to investigate and properly prepare against that defense. Now, ultimately, they're not entitled to a fair trial, but the rules of federal procedure are set up to make it fair-ish for the government for some reason, because they need fairness. I don't know why. But they point out the defendant fails to give notice or refuses to submit to an examination. The court may exclude expert testimony from the defendant. And that's the thing. So Diddy could say, no, I don't want you to examine me. Well, if he tells that to the government shrink, well, then the government could say, well, you're not allowed to bring that in. Now, this is where I think a lot of the stuff that got blacked out above, it's kind of creeps in. And it's just because you can only hide it so much. That there is the effects of drugs and alcohol on the defendant's memory or cognitive function must be noticed under Rule 12.2. I think there's some information there. I don't know how they get around the idea of voluntary intoxication, but maybe there's something where when you take a drink of alcohol and you're on this med and you're not advised it's a problem, it causes a problem and you're not expecting it. I don't know. But once again, Chad, I said, like, as you read through this, you can see you can kind of get an idea of what Diddy's team is going to create and the arguments they're going to create here. All right. So they get to Rule 702. They talk about the federal rules of evidence. We don't need to go through those. But it is interesting that that's happening. It's interesting what is going on here. But they talk about his anticipated testimonies based on the defendant's probably interviews and not an examination of the defendant. They point out his purported distinction does not change the fact that his testimony, and yeah, there's some interesting things here. They point out his related to his capacity to commit the charged offenses, and they say, in short, the defendant's attempting to elicit the type of testimony restricted without following the rules requirements. So this is all going to be about Diddy's mental capacity. Did he have the right capacity to, you know, the mens rea to commit these offenses, the proper mental state? It doesn't look like it. I don't think this is going to work. It's a little too late. It's a little too late. And they're pointing out that all the information relied on, including the charging document, have been available at the time of his arrest, so there's no more good cause. I don't think it's going to get in. I don't think this is all going to come in, but it is interesting to see what they're going to do here. And they said, had we had timely notice, we could have sought examination of the defendant and for the court to order its own examination. So we'll find out what's going to happen here, but I think Diddy's probably screwed. I think Diddy's probably screwed. So it'll be very interesting. They point out ultimately that his proposed testimony doesn't really jive with what they're doing here, and there's no direct link between the testimony and the elements the government must prove. So I think he's toast. I think Diddy's going to get toast on this, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they can get away with it. Maybe they can't. Will his cell have furry walls? Maybe. Blaine's Escape Corner says, when Gunpla, Grandpa? Well, I don't have any more Gunpla, so whenever I get more. I have the the Zaku behind me. Right there. So, but it is interesting what's going to happen to Diddy. I just don't see how he wins on this one, but we'll see. Maybe he can. Maybe he can pull it off. Maybe he can pull it off. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I think it's interesting to see what kind of defenses and action Diddy's looking to do at this point. Johnson & Johnson stock is down 10% since Diddy got jailed. Coincidence? That's a baby oil thing, chat. And if you guys don't remember that, when Diddy got arrested and they raided his house, they found like 1,000 bottles of baby oil and all kinds of freaky shit with the freak outs and everything. It's just all bad. It's all bad. And real quick, Sweet Tooth says, what's mens rea? No. Okay, MENSREA. There's no H. Mens rea is the required mental state to commit this act. So, for example, to commit murder, I have to knowingly cause harm. I can't recklessly cause harm. That would be negligent homicide or maybe even manslaughter. But to commit murder, I have to knowingly commit and cause harm, which leads to death. Now, you can infer my knowledge from me saying, I know I'm going to kill you or I want to kill you. You can also infer my mental state that there's an idea that if I'm stabbing somebody in the chest with a knife, there's an idea that you're knowledgeable that your actions will lead to a certain outcome that a reasonably proven person would. So the idea is if you stab somebody, well, that's going to kill them and that could cause them serious bodily harm or death. So there's a presumption what's going on. Then there, that is the other part of that is one part of it. Then there's the other part of it's the actus reus. Is normally just the external element of things. And it's the actual thing you do. It's like if I'm committing murder, the actual physical act of causing harm is the actus reus. But I need the mental state of this is actually going to do it. So let's say I'm crazy and I think I'm holding, a wiffle ball bat and I'm just hitting somebody on the head like tap, 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 tap. And in reality, I've got a pickaxe and I'm burying it into your skull. Well, I might not have the right mental state, but I definitely touched you and caused you harm. There's no question about that. So hope that answers that question. If you shit on your husband's bed, you're not abused. Yes, Kapisi, very true, very true. So, all right, I hope that answered you guys' questions there. I hope that answered your questions. Popcorn Power says, did I go to one of Diddy's white parties? No, I did not. I'm good. I'm good over here on my own. I don't need to go to his white parties. I really don't need to. That's not what I need. That is not what I need out there, chat. Okay. So, just keep things in mind, guys. There are going to be, they had a hearing today. I don't think there were any updates on the hearing. So we'll find out more about what happens as we deal with stuff. Let me see. What are you guys up to now? What was this me? What is this? No, but we'll save this for the end because that is kind of funny. That is kind of funny. All right, guys. From there, we've got some interesting. There's another. I guess well, actually, there's not really anything special here, but this is something where people are fucking around and finding out about what they did. And this is if you guys remember back in December, there was a TikTok guy who was running around a Walmart and he was spraying food with bug spray. Like it was a real thing. And I hate this when it like flips through. So if you guys haven't seen this before, this is actually the video of like what this guy did. And you can see it.
The man accused of filming himself spraying.
So this is this dumbass filming this shit on YouTube or on TikTok. And here's what he does.
Bug killer on Walmart produce has pled guilty to several charges.
And that is he's spraying hot shot bug spray.
In December, Charles Smith recorded himself spraying the bug killer at a Mesa Walmart. He allegedly told investigators that he makes money filming videos of pranks. He'll be back in court on June 24th.
So yeah, that's such funny prank, guys. So funny. So funny. Oh my god, I got it was a prank, bro. It's so funny. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's one of those times where like, there might not be anything wrong with a group of people beating the living shit out of him. So yes, he ended up just pleading guilty to a bunch of offenses over last week. He pleaded guilty to criminal damaging, solicitation to commit burglary, and adding harmful substances to a food product. He will go back in June for his sentencing. I hope it's on TV because I'd like to watch that. And yes, he claims that he returned to the store and attempted to collect the items he sprayed. I mean, what were you going to buy all those? Like, do you think that dude can really buy? Like, that's the funny part of this. Do you really think he can buy all that stuff? All those bananas, all that produce? That's like hundreds of dollars of shit right there. And not only that, but where the spray could waft over and everything. I mean, all that food, that entire thing has to be thrown out. You can't trust any of it. All the things it's sitting on have to be cleaned off and thrown out. So, yeah. Good for him. Good for him. And that's the interesting part, though, because the least serious crime he has is the adding a harmful substance to food. He faces up to 18 months of prison, and he probably should go to jail for this for a little bit. This is one of those times where I tell you guys, should we put somebody in jail? This time, yes. And maybe his option and maybe what he's going to do, is not people are going to have to learn. Don't be retarded like you. I mean, there's no, I don't think you should go to prison for like 18 months or some of you guys are saying like 5 years. I don't think, give him the max. Like, I don't agree with that. But, like 6 months in jail is probably a pretty good idea. I mean, because he says he came back in and tried to get it. How do you know? Like, thank God nobody bought that food. Are we sure nobody bought that food? And then more importantly, just like spraying it around on people. Like people like that shit wafting around and landing on someone's cart. Like that's the bad thing here. That's the bad thing. Yes, you mess with my food and I'll advocate for capital punishment. Send him to hard labor at gay 90s. So no, I just think he needs something, but I don't think it's 20 years in prison like some of you guys want. I don't think that's the right thing here, but I do think it does matter, and I think part of the issue is we need a deterrent factor, and I think it's clear there needs to be one. Now, thankfully, things have died down, but if you guys remember, there was the guy who did he was running around licking ice creams and putting them back. And that caused the company to recall all the ice cream in that store. And they weren't sure which store exactly. So they recall a bunch of stores worth of ice cream, throw it all out, and then put new stuff in there, even though they're like, well, look, I licked it and put it back, but then I bought it. It's like, they can't trust you. You're that fucking stupid. We can't trust you for that. Just like this guy. Oh, I sprayed stuff on it, but I bought it. We can't trust you. We can't trust you because there's really psychotic people out there who really would do that. So it's just, yeah, I mean, you know, this idea though is it's just retarded. It's just retarded, guys. It's just a prank, bro. Is not going to work, and it's going to work less and less and less as society gets more and more and more pissed off. So don't do what he did. Don't do what he did. But if you guys want to see what he's facing, I mean, this guy's facing a nice little bit of cases here. You know, he got burglary to the 3rd degree, unlawful entry. Like I mean, this is, you know, he entered a plea agreement, and I might see if I can take a look at this, but it's like, buddy, you had to plea out some felonies for a fucking TikTok. Like, was it worth it? Just like, you're kind of like Jim. You're like, was it worth it? And I think Jim's got a good point there. Was it worth it? You know, these are, you know, and as you can see, this is these are escalating offenses. And I just don't know, man. I just don't know. Get legal mindset on this. Oh. So he'll get a massive give and go out of it. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. But he is definitely going to be facing some issues here, and just don't be a fucking idiot when it comes to this stuff, guys. Like, nobody likes your pranks. Your pranks aren't funny, bro. They just aren't. And I guess moving on to somebody else who had some funny pranks here, Johnny Somali. And if you guys know, and Andrew over at Legal Mindset has been covering this quite extensively, Johnny Somali has been running around the nation of South Korea acting like an asshole. And finally, they've detained him, had prevented him from leaving the country. Now he's stuck there as they deal with his criminal offenses. And he's looking at up to like 20 years in prison, which he probably won't get. But as Mindset keeps pointing out, he's probably going to work in the cabbage fields. And Johnny Somali has done this in other places. He was in Japan and acting like a little shitbird, and they kicked him out. He went to Israel, acted like a little shitbird, and the police there kicked his ass. And they kicked him out. And then he went to South Korea, and finally South Korea put their foot down. And after this all happened, Vitaly went to the Philippines. We covered this, I think, last week. They put their foot down. Yes, RKI yearns for the fields. Yes, the cabbage fields. So if you guys remember, there was also, though, the way things went in South Korea. In Japan, some people did start hunting him down and confronting him, but nobody heard him. Well, in South Korea, you know, a streamer, a famous South Korean streamer, I think he's on Twitch or YouTube. He ended up finding Johnny, and his name is Dale. I'm gonna mess it up. Dalgan Yu. He is a former member of South Korea's UDT, underwater demolition teams, and like SEALs, like naval special warfare guys. He is a former member of that, and now he's a streamer. And he found Johnny one day, and this is after Johnny had already done a bunch of things, disgraced the Comfort Women's Memorials. And if you guys don't know what those are, the Japanese military would abduct and basically forcibly kidnap women and young girls and take them and just rape them and do whatever they needed to them. And they were comfort women. Well, they did that all over the occupied territories, and they did it a lot in Korea. And there was a monument, and Johnny Somali went around and fucked around on that monument. Well, the Koreans didn't take kindly to it. And here's one example of it. Hold on, can you guys see this? Yep, here you go. Yeah, here's Johnny. And, you know, this is already after he got punched. You see he's got a Band-Aid on already, but here you go.
What do you got? Oh. Yo. Somali, say something. Somali, say.
So, anyways, this is a little more of an extended cut of it.
American life streamer who has South Korea smiles without a care in the world.
야, 소말리. 어디가? 어디가?
You can hear him. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
A local YouTuber has tracked down Somali and in the middle of the street assaults him with his fist.
Yo.
And there you go. It's just beautiful watching him get his ass kicked. Now, there are other videos, especially when they start screaming at Johnny, other Korean streamers, because in Korea, the word you, the pronoun you, is nika. And they walked up to Johnny as he's dealing with the police, screaming, nika, 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 nika. And Johnny's getting really mad because he's like, he doesn't understand. They're not giving a racial slur. It sounds like it, but they're just going, you. And Johnny got really mad about it and cried to the police. Well, anyway, you're not allowed to punch people, even if they are being complete pieces of shit. Now, what happened to this guy? Well, he got a little bit of punishment for it. He did get a little punishment. There is some positivity to this. And also, if you guys have never seen him, this is the dude. That's the guy who beat him up. And this is him when he's in, his SEAL unit in Korea. Well, there was some interesting stuff here. And Legal Mindset pointed out. Big thanks to Donut Operator for covering his fines. So he got a couple thousand won fine. And I kind of thought Donut Operator was full of shit, but he did pay the dude's fine. He sent 4,000 USD to him in Korea. So covers that, which is good. It was 4K because he had already crowdfunded 3. So, good news. Good news. Like, somebody was held accountable, and Donut's like, hey, I'm going to cover the fine. So, yeah, South Korea does go hard. That's also run in Japanese partially. That's awesome. I did not know that. So, were you guys able to see him get his punched in the face? I thought you were. I'm just making sure. Anyway, this was covered, so his fines are getting covered, which is a nice thing. Still, though, I mean, it's got to, I'm sure that guy's fine with that, taking the hit for that. But it does suck. Johnny Somali's causing all these problems that people are having to, eat their, law-abiding records because of that. The Korean SEAL guy should get the Korean Medal of Honor. Yeah. And Donut doesn't play as a man of his word. Yeah, well, I know, but it's also saying that there is not a police shooting he doesn't like. So the shaky camera after the conflict does me just fine. Yes, the Philippines is going harder. Johnny's walking around not in a cell. Yes, Johnny is confined basically to his apartment. Vitaly is in a Filipino prison, probably hating life, because in the Philippines right now, this time of the year, I mean, really most of the time of the year, because it's the Philippines, it's like 100 degrees in Manila, and it's 100 degrees in the jungle. So good luck, Vitaly. Have you seen the video they released about the Buffalo thing? Yes, that's something I was going to try to take a look at and maybe talk about this weekend. I think it's very interesting that Angry Cops came out with that, and then all the media in Buffalo are just crapping on him. So, yes, Singapore caned a guy many decades ago now, for doing graffiti. If you guys remember the Simpsons episode where Bart gets the boot, that whole thing is based off the guy in Singapore getting caned. And it was a big incident because Singapore still does corporal punishment. We covered it earlier. A lady was getting executed for drug trafficking. And Singapore will do that. Like, you can spit on the street there and they can corporally punish you. So, yeah, there are times where it's necessary. But be careful when you fuck around in foreign countries. Meme showed a documentary about those prisons. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised at all. So Evan says there's 2 seasons in the Philippines. The mosquito season and the rain season. Oh, that sounds awful. That sounds awful. Yes, Vitaly hopefully has chosen the front lines over going to the prison. Yes, staying in the prison or dodging Ukrainian FPV drones. I don't know. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, Ray. Michael Gelke says it's only 96 degrees and 50% humidity. It's a nice day in Manila. 56% humidity is a nice day there. Jeez. I'm not. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. William Gibson says Singapore is Disneyland with the death penalty. No, you guys got to be careful. When you go to the East, the Orient will execute you for a lot of things, especially drug trafficking. So, it's always quinine season. Yeah, it's always malaria season, yes. All right, guys, moving on from there. We've got an update. It's kind of a sad update. It's really a sad update to what's going on. In regards to the Buc-ee saga. And if you guys remember, we covered this. There was a local business in Missouri. They tried to start a thing called Barc-ees. And if you guys saw it, we went over this before, and it's like, well, it's clearly a Buc-ee's ripoff. How they did it, you're like, come on now, come on. And they're like, oh, we're doing it as like an homage to them. And this is the story we covered back at the end of the month. It's actually about a month ago now. Barc-ees is this one. Obviously, that's Buc-ee's here. This is you're like, are you bruh. You're gonna have to get through all of this. And as they keep going here, here are the different trademarks that are being used, some of the arguments to things. And this is some of the stuff that Buc-ee's put in their lawsuit. It's similar fonts and styling. And it also doesn't help that saying Buc-ee's was the inspiration for the Barc-ees business. You're like, oh, it's going to be like a Buc-ee's, but for dogs. You're like, well, that doesn't help you there. That doesn't help you there. Haschick says, I hit the Buc-ee's in Amarillo last week. I still haven't been one. Still haven't been to one. Now, it's not stealing the font, Jeff. It's that, would that cause people to believe that this store has any relationship to Buc-ee's, and would there be brand confusion? Well, Buc-ee's and Barc-ees, it's over because there's the ballot of this amid legal battle. They publicly detailed their end. So, and they had to hang it up. Chat. They had to hang it up to Big Beaver. Or Big, what is he, a chipmunk or a beaver? Man, they had to hang it up. The beaver got him. So they end up pointing out that they couldn't keep it up, but they opened up their canine focused Barc-ees. And it's a 7,500 square foot coffee shop, game yard, and outdoor dog park. Could be a community hang, but also where people could stop and spend time if they're traveling through. And he also wanted to put up like billboards coming to Barc-ees. And once again, chat, everything you do, doing one thing isn't necessarily a problem. But every time you do something, and you do something, and you do something, and then you do something, and you do something, after a while, it kind of builds up to, yes, are you allowing people to maybe think this is you? So they wanted to put up their billboards. You're like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, you guys. So why the hell did that show up like that? But whatever. So as this starts going, they wanted to put up the billboards along the highway. And then in March, there was a lawsuit filed alleging the brand name and imagery attempted to mimic the brand. And they're confusing similar to the Buc-ee's trademarks. And it would allow the defendants to gain acceptance of their services based on their own merits, but on association with Buc-ee's. So in the wake of the lawsuit, he did make a comment. But he also said first they had to close over their construction issues, but also the lawsuit. And this is where he did do a message here. He talks about all the stuff he's going to do. We're going to keep fighting and we're going to keep doing this. But it's like, it's like everybody thinks they can do this. The remarks from the legal team that specialized in trademark believe that I could win if I went to trial, but it may not be worth the fight. Well, yeah, they believe you can win, but can you afford to lose? That's really the calculus. Can you win? Sure. But can you afford to lose? I mean, anybody can afford to win, generally. But why am I going to Luling, Texas? I don't know why it said that there. I need to make one called Clydes. Yes. Well. So what are they going to do here? And it's, what are they going to do? Beavers are cunning creatures. Beavers are very cunning. So, most of the folks did bring up a great issue. Why not just rebrand? And they were busy telling their fans they were reimagining, thinking, and envisioning where all of it's taking them. So they point out, it's not an easy, quick fix. It actually is. It's pretty easy because you can ask them not to, is this good enough? Now it's funny they're arguing this interesting herbivore, the beaver. It's not the only thing in our arena that's pushing us to reassess. But is it really? So from then on, they used an AI image of a different dog human turning keys over to 3 women, announcing that Barc-ees was closed for good, but the image of the dog and the keys symbolized it was turning over the land to a business called the Bean and Bubble Babes, who serve coffee, lemonade, and bubble tea. What the fuck is bubble tea? But anyways, there you go, chat. That's a furry dog, I guess. And look at all these white girls. A bunch of white girls and a dog. What do you think that's going to do now, chat? You know how white girls and dogs get. You know how they get out there. So, then came an image of a third dog human thinking up ideas for a business plan. And they posted another one, but wearing a baseball hat and seemingly moving on from something. So they say, stay tuned for exciting transformations. So it's been the saga. And, I think they realize we probably might not win. We probably won't win this. Now, maybe they would, but what can they afford to win it? I mean, that's always the big thing. Can you afford to win that thing? If you can't, well, now you've got a big problem. And I think that's something you guys have to be considered. Oh, yeah. Can I read us a bit of your new book? What's my new book? That Rusty Cage song about white girls. Oh. Do you not know what bubble tea is? No. You mean boba tea or bubble tea? Because it says bubble tea, and I don't know if that's the boba tea. All right, Siobhan saying, are you making a bestiality joke? How could you? Well, white girls do. They have their thing with dogs, man. Oh, it's the bobo tea. Oh, that's what I thought, the boba tea, but I didn't realize it was bubble tea. I didn't know the same thing. Off topic. Anyone know a lot about Adam Lanza? Thanks, Phil. Yes. Quite a bit. Don't tell Sean about bubble tea. He will gain a lot of weight. Yeah, because that's what it's going to do. Yeah, there's no dogs here. But once again, chat, this is, we thought this might go somewhere, but it's already done. It's over. Kimbo says Buc-ee's is an icon. Hands off. Well, apparently other people have already decided to make it hands off. So Let's see here. What's the new thing we're moving on to? In this week in based here. This kid is amazing, and I think he needs the introduction for here that he properly deserves.
Switchy. No talk. No cap. No talk.
No cap indeed, chat. No cap. Listen to this kid. This kid, I mean, look at him with his broccoli mop on his head. I mean, the broccoli cuts and, whatever. He may have a shitty haircut, but he was selling guns at 17. So he's been charged with a dozen counts relating to the sale of guns. I think this is just based. They searched his home after there were controlled buys for guns. They found firearms parts used to convert firearms into fully automatic ones, including 3D printed handguns with no serial numbers. Based. 3D printed low receivers for an AR-15. Based. Several hundred 3D printed drop-in auto sears. Mega based. Mega based. Although, really, you could print a Yankee Boogle for an AR-15 in like 8 minutes, even at like 100% infill. Not that I ever did the math on that or anything, but you can chat. You can. So, mega based, though. Mega based. And it gets even better. He had 3D printed Glock handgun switches, which you can 3D print. You could 3D print switchies, chat. You could print out switchies. A fully assembled modified Glock handgun. I don't know if that means one with a switchy in it, but based. Gunsmithing tools, numerous gun parts. Well, that makes sense. If you're gunsmithing, you'd have gun parts. THC paraphernalia, a 3D printer, and associated magazines and ammunition. I love how the news sites, according to PBS, a semi-auto weapon fires one shot every time the trigger is pulled, and a full-auto weapon is until the trigger is released. Still, mega-based, Where's Fudbusters when you need them? It's like This Week in Guns. Need to cover this kid doing some based stuff. Absolute mad lad, chat. When do I get the mega based emote? I'll have to talk to Mindset, see if I can get that. If there's a non-VTuber version of that, but mega based. Yes, tonight I'm gonna 3D print switchies for 5 lucky people in chat. Only for Gen 3 Glocks. Roscoe says, either you're mad at me or I didn't get the book. I did not have the chance to get to the post office today. I got sidetracked. I need to go over there and get it. I was hoping I could do a mail call today. I also forgot today was Thursday till about 7 o'clock. So that was also part of the problem. I plan on doing I plan on trying to do Thursday nights for a mail show, do the mail opening. So we might do it tomorrow instead, Roscoe, but I will take a look at it. I'm so sorry. I've been a little busy. I will send them to 5 random people. That's true. 5 random people are going to get switchies. Oh. I saw a sandwich shop on the way to the post office and get sidetracked. Air Doo-Doo saying, full mail call was a great show with the Army. Yes, it was. Full auto is overrated. I understand, but there's something to be said about when you could pick up, you could pick up a pistol, load it up, and just there's something to be said when you can do that with guns and have the right to do it and the ability and the freedom to want to do it. There's something to be said about that. Yes, you guys already may be winners. I'll have my daughter draw a picture of Clyde and mail it in next. I will appreciate that when you send it. Yes, we're only 50 subs away from the Switchy giveaway, and that's a Switchy Gold, chat. Can we hit it? Can you hit staring the NFA in the face and going, can you hit it, chat? Can you hit it? Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I totally forgot that it was Thursday. I thought it was yesterday. For some reason, I spent most of the day thinking it was Wednesday. Even when I was looking at my schedule and doing what I had to do, I was like, oh, it's Wednesday today. But yeah, I would love, like, people should be able to do it. They should be able to sit there and go, Bert, you should be able to have a crate. Full auto should get to the point where it's so boring. They're like, oh yeah, all my guns are full auto. Who cares? Like, I have a crate a full auto AK sitting out there waiting to get buried somewhere for a rainy day. That's how it should be. Sadly, it's not that way. Catherine, yes, I saw the Memphis Cop trial is being streamed. I think it only lasted 4 days. That is something we're going to have to catch up on as well. Guys, that's the trial for the murder of Tyree Nickel. He was the guy who the police stopped, and they stopped him probably for a sketchy reason. He ran away because he was scared, and then they beat him to death on camera. So that's something we'll probably cover as Karen Reed ends, because I do think that one needs to get covered, because those guys are fucking shitbag cops, and it should be covered. So send a spider with any pictures you send me. Do not do that, please. Do not. Siobhan is saying, speaking of mail, your neighborhood is weird when I go on a dog walk and I find ripped up mail, like someone is hoping you pick it up. That is weird. That is weird. Just buy a super safety, chat. Well, print one out. Don't buy one. Print one. You guys want to hit the switchy goal? Oh, we got some people trying to hit the switchy goal here. All right, real quick, guys. We got some greens to talk about. Erica Thorpe gifting 5 subs. Damn Simon gifting 1 membership. Thank you for the support and your generosity, Simon. I appreciate it. Coming up and helping doing his part. And then EDW Raptor for 10 subs. And for 10 more for 20 memberships, chat. Squizgar for 10 of his own. Grays, you got nowhere to run tonight. Amateur Iconoclast gifting 1. And SB Sellers gifting 10 subs. Oh, Grays, they locked in on you today. And they just decided to... Sorry, Grays. There's nowhere for you to go. You're getting hunted down tonight. We're just getting a chat. We are going to make America green again. We are going to make America green again. We're going to make it strong again. We're going to make it based again. It is going to be green again, chat. It is going to be green. So thank you guys for all your support and your generosity. Real quick, guys, speaking of some things here real quick, want to get to our show sponsors tonight. First of all, we have the dragonstreasure.com. It is a haven for tea and anime lovers. Guys, the dragonstreasure.com, run by the T-Man. Very good guy, very base guy, doesn't put up with bullshit. Guys, use the promo code CRIMINAL. Get 10% off your order for coffee, teas, or soaps. Heck, get all 3 of them if you need to. It's all good stuff there. I talked to T-Man recently and I asked him, like, hey, are there any any special things you're really pushing this? He's like, no, it's all good right now. They don't have a summer blended tea, but the soaps, chat, I know people have said they've gotten them. They're kind of nice and exfoliating. Obviously, coffee is always good all year long. Soaked tea can be, especially in the mornings. So guys, definitely show up and show the T-Man some love. He's been dealing with some things out there. And, you want to help out a small business. Here's a small business you can help out, chat. T-Man out there, just selling some wholesome, good products. Always there, speaking his mind. He is out there taking care of it. So definitely help out T-Man. He's doing great stuff out there. I really mean it, guys. T-Man's a good guy. T-Man is a very, very good guy. Hodor says the Dragon's Treasure sounds like anime cope and sneak content right now. No, I mean, he's pretty base. He doesn't think giving cocaine to kids or letting kids get exposed to cocaine is acceptable conduct. So, if you want to support a base person, there you go. Support somebody who's mega based. Didn't we destroy all the tea like a year ago? A century ago? I mean, I don't know. I don't think we did. I mean, we still have tea out there. Squizgar says his tea is good. Well, there you go, guys. It is good stuff. So, Dragon's Treasure is an OG, yes. He is good, like I said, guys. Take care of him. If you guys are looking to buy something soon, definitely do it. Please do it. It would help his business out a lot, like I said. Things are getting a little tight up there. Having to deal with the tariffs and all that. So help him out. Show him some love. And then tonight's chat, we also have Stoney's Bar and Grill at 1580 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota. Chat. It's home of the $2.50 cans. I mean, what more can you say? Like, do you guys really need more? Then fine. You know what? I'll give you more to talk about. You know what? It's bike night on Thursdays, chat. That's right. You can roll out to Stoney's and right in front of everybody, right on Broadway Street, sit there and crank your hog for the entire neighborhood. Right out there. People will cheer you on as you do it. It'll be great. You don't even have to go to hedonism in Jamaica for that. You can just crank your hog in the good old US of A, and you'll get applauded for it. It's bike night every Thursday night, chat. And they have the Under the Hood Grill and Catering out there for bike night. It's still bike night, chat, so hit it up. Stoney's is back to its summer hours, though. That is the good news, chat. They have summer hours now. We're back to, like, the good times. We have returned back to the sun, chat. It's just like Master and Commander. They're back to their summer hours. Tomorrow, they're open at 11 a.m., so you want to get tore up. They're open even earlier now, chat. It is a good day to be at Stoney's. It is a good time there. So, then Saturday, Stoney's garage opens. The garage chat will be open on Saturday. With the unloaded 2 to 5. They're getting to it, chat. It's going to be great. It's going to be great at Stoney's. You guys have never seen the garage. The garage is going to get opened up. The garage is some good stuff out there, chat. When you go out to the garage, you get to go out onto the new patio. It's been all seasoned up. They made sure the wood's all finished up this year. I talked to Cheeto. He was telling me there were concerns about too much baby oil staining the wood out on the patio, but he told me they got some nice water sealing product down that's oil resistant, so they don't have to worry about it staining the wood and damaging the wood and penetrating in. They'll be able to just squeegee it off and just dry off the patio, and everything will be safe, no slipping and falling. So guess what, guys? That's all Aaron needed to know. Naked Twister is coming back. That's the good news. Hold on one second. Thank you. My lovely producer had to bring up some information. So there we go, chat. It's just something to think about. Support a local business out there in the heart of Minnesota, serving Minnesota as the premier biker bar for over 30 years running. Then real quick, chat, we have MAF Corporation, maf-arms.com. Use a promo code POTCRIM for 10% off all your wind chime accessories. And as Fudbusters himself said, if you guys contact him and you put it in if you use my promo code and then you put it in the additional comments line and you remind him about it, he will do a big old lipstick kiss on your invoice. So remember, orders of $500 or more, $500 or more. And Ivan will also put some nice lipstick on, and he'll leave you a kiss on there too. And they'll even write XOXOXO. So hit them up, chat. Get your wind chimes. You're almost gonna be too late. It's gonna be too late, chat. Get your wind chimes ready. Oh. So Bill Capri, what are you saying? Does anybody track the interruptions of 2.0? I'd like to pry into this guy's life and make assumptions. Thank you. Thank you. Can you imagine me doing Naked Twister? I'd just be able to stand there and cover all the spots because I'm fat. Can you sit there and eat a sandwich while I'm doing it? So there you go. Does he ever do rainbow kisses? He might. He might for $500. Ask him. So it ain't tops and weather sealer, but it wouldn't want to soak up any water now. Yeah. They're not liable if you end up with a coyote ugly. That's true as well, but you're gonna have to do it. Hodor says you need to atone for your A10 hating. Dink donk, repent, ding donk. I don't hate the A10 Warthog. It's just not like it does a lot of neat things, but it's outlived its purpose anymore. Yes, if I'm trying to hunt T-64s out in Czechoslovakia or in southern Bavaria in 1977, yes, the A10 is the go-to thing that I would want. By 1985, it's getting kind of tough because there's going to be a lot of manpad and really advanced SHORAD popping up. I mean, you're gonna if you try to roll in on a convoy in like 1985, you're gonna be walking on 23 millimeter cannon shells from all the Shilkas, the Tungunskas, and everything else that the Russians would be throwing up at you. By the time you get to like now, whew, you really want to take one up in the sky now, buddy? Ooh, buddy, you have fun with that. You have fun with that. So, Justice Smith says T60. I said T64. No, the T64 tank, or even if it's by 1977, you're probably running into a lot of T72s, but you're probably still running into a majority of like T64s, T62s, and depending on which Warsaw Pact nation you'd be running into at that point, even in the 80s, you might run into very quickly like T55s, and that's just because especially the Polish army or something like that, or even the other Warsaw Pact nations would only have so many frontline, cutting edge vehicles. Like the East Germans would have a ton. So would the Russians. But after that, you're going to be running T55s very quickly. And at that point, whatever you had would chew up T55s. So we should have kept the F-111 or modernized it. Yeah. So the T-60 power armor, I didn't even think about that from Fallout. Sorry. The new Sky Raider 2 has better coverage time. No, the Ag Tractor, no, that's not a good plane. No, anything it could do now, you just have a Reaper drone do. It's got better loiter time than anything else, and it won't get swatted out of the sky. So, Gigomega Fanta. Okay, we'll stop with the Milsberg in a second here. A T-62, 64, 72, and 80 could very much still clap cheeks. Depends on how you regulate and use them. Yeah, but the bigger problem is, though, how do you protect them with, AAA and SAMs? That's more of what we're talking about. So, anyways, we're going to keep going. Moving on to other things. I'm sorry, chat, for that. But we had to address it. Oh, I missed. Where are we at? Oh, who just messaged me? Oh, sorry, chat. I got too many tabs open, and I'm pulling a cure shot. I got too many tabs up, and I got to close everything as I go. Okay, now moving on. This one is really weird, and I hope that the school district in this case gets its ass absolutely kicked here. And this one's very Ricky Ritardo, really. This one's really very Ricky Ritardo. And hold on, where are you guys at down in there? So out in Missouri, And this is over on, this is actually came in through the so this kid makes a picture and puts it on his phone. And this is what he made. This is what he made. He made a bunch of pop cans look like a gun, and he called it AK-47. And you're like, okay, is it really though? But like, where's your stock and everything? And like, I kind of get this is the mag and everything, but that's what he made. That's what he made. Okay. So he made that. And yeah, he made that, and he got suspended from school. He got suspended from school for gluing pop cans together. That because that was so dangerous out there, chat. So dangerous. So they filed a lawsuit, but the lawsuit was filed against the Mountain View Birch Tree R3. I don't know what the R is. That mean school district. So what did they do? Well, so the school district's aware of the lawsuit, but because it involves a student, we can't talk about it. And isn't it interesting how they can do that? They hide behind these things. So a 13-year-old boy posted on Snapchat Dr. Pepper cans glued together. Oh no! And you might say, well, wait. Was he at school? Nope. He was at home using his own personal device. Meaning he wasn't using like his Chromebook or other school property. He literally did it in his own free time. The next day, someone called about it. Fuck you, whoever did that. The principal then called the student's mom and told her the student would need to be searched the next school day before he could enter. At least these school officials are more effective than the ones in Ethan Crumley's situation where they let him wander around with a gun in his backpack. So I'll give him credit. I give him credit. These guys are actually doing the right thing. Hey, we think there's a gun problem. Let's check his backpack. So at least they got that part right. Did he take it to school? No. No, there's no information that he took it to school. They just saw he posted a picture of a gun, so they freaked out. The next morning, they went to the school, and the Snapchat post brought fear to other students. Did it really? And then she pointed out that she's witnessed other school officials and other pictures of actual guns held by adults and other school-age children, and they weren't considered threats. Yes, very interesting. And we're gonna go. I have not seen the lawsuit yet, chat, but we are gonna take a look at that because it's very. Oh wait, I was able to find it actually. So. We'll probably take a look at this as it comes up here because I think this whole thing is absolutely nonsense what they did here to this kid. This kid was never it's not being brandished at anybody. It's not being threatening to anybody. It's literally art. I mean, this is the First Amendment protected activity. There's no threatening messages. It didn't mention the school district, or anyone else. So, I mean, this is like, the Lucas Gerhardt thing. This is even different because he's not even holding it. He's not saying about melting snowflakes, nothing. This is art. At the end of the day, this thing is art, chat. I mean, I would argue it's art. It's 100% art. Is there... there's a Second Amendment issue here too, but this is mainly a First Amendment thing. Absolutely, Mr. Pibbs is waiting on the sidelines. That's why people were mad, because they're like, this is a Mr. Pibb county. We don't tolerate this around here. Oh. Well, okay, it shows no red state conservative area is safe. Well, this isn't even an issue about red state, blue state. This is because school administrators are risk-averse pussies. And the biggest thing is an issue of zero tolerance. There's a reason why administrators and apparatchiks like the concept of zero tolerance, because it doesn't require them to think. They don't have to make decisions. They could go, sorry, we're just following policy. Policy is zero tolerance, because then they're not forced to make a hard decision. That's why these people love zero tolerance, because they're spineless and they're little bitches. You know, I had a case where we had a client and he was a kid and he had a knife and it was at a football game and it was his backpack. But he had been working earlier the day and he had it on him. And he was at a football game and, you know, he used it as part of where he's working. And they tried to say zero tolerance, sorry, zero tolerance, zero tolerance. And they were going to suspend him and he was facing felony charges. And it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And and obviously by the time we got to court, even the prosecutor's like, why are we doing this? And the magistrate we were in front of said, why are we doing this? And the school was the only one saying, well, it's zero tolerance. We got to do something. And everybody looked at them and said, okay. And then we looked and we basically turned around and had the court hearing and we turned it into a disorderly conduct, which he got sealed in 6 months when he complied with everything. You know, there's things you can do. There's things about being reasonable. Should he have brought it there? No. You know, all those things. But it's do we really need to charge people with felonies for this stuff? No. It's zero tolerance because we don't have to think. No, he wasn't a Sikh. Was not a Sikh. Besides, with the Sikhs, their daggers are ceremonial. They're generally pinned, so you can't use them anyway. But no, this was actually an opening. It was a fixed. It was an opening folding. It was a folding locking frame knife. So yeah. Muted the screen. Muted cough the screen off. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna DSP it and snort on screen. So. But yeah, getting back to this, this is a First Amendment issue, a major First Amendment issue. But I don't blame the parents for going after him. Anyways, the kid was suspended for 3 days, which is fucking retarded. Anyways, this was his first offense of cyberbullying. That's what they called cyberbullying. You know, he also lost friendships. There were false rumors that he threatened violence against the school. And now this kid suffers from anxiety. So hopefully they clean him out and they take him to the cleaners here. Who was the kid bullying? We don't know. It's not clear who he bullied. He bullied unknown people. I don't know, chat. Like I said, that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. So that's what they're saying. Hold on here. What is okay? Okay, and then he bullied your mom last night. Yeah, he bullied their mom. He bullied everybody on Snapchat. Yes, he did. I'm sure he did. I'm sure that's what happened there. Bullies are good for society. Yes, they are. But even in this case, he didn't bully anybody. Kim O'Night says he bullied the black children because they don't have access to that brand of soda nor rifles. Yeah, they had to make a grape drink rifle. And it's like, it's not the same. They had like Grape Crush. Oh. It's in Mountain View or Howell County. Oh, okay. This is an obvious attempt at brand assassination by Coca-Cola. Oh no. Oh no. Yes, they need Grape Fago or Big Red. I know. That's right. That's the problem. The principal's a closet juggalo. He's like, you didn't use Fago, and that's the problem. Oh, Ag is saying, because he's from Missouri, the R stands for reorganized. Okay. So it does stand for a little bit. Oh, what even is Dr. Pepper? I don't know. Dr. Pepper's disgusting. Like there's one time, I think it was one time well, actually, I don't know. I think it might have been 2.0. Had gotten Dr. Pepper or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay. And then like I had a drink and I was like, I didn't know which was which because there wasn't any markings on it. So I took a big sip out of that one and I, grab the straw and take a big sip of it. And it's just like, like I thought I was dying for a second. Stuff is disgusting. Dr. Pepper is just nasty as hell. I don't know why you people drink it. I don't know why you people drink it, but I agree, Jeff. What is Dr. Pepper? So, guys, we are going to take a look at that lawsuit coming up here. That'll be something, like I said, Karen Reed's occupying the weeks, but like that leaves the weekends for us to cram in some other content, so it'll be fun. I'm trolling. No, it's fucking awful. It's awful. It's acid. Well, most pop is acid. It all dissolves your bones. The phosphates in it eat your bones away. It's never a good thing. Once again, I say I don't like a food product. My fat card's revoked. Well, when your mom burns dinner and I still eat it, I hope I get it back. Okay. For 50,000 subs, I need to try hot Dr. Pepper. Okay, well, you know what? Here, Stabby, we'll mark this down. At 50,000 subs, I will take a sip of hot Dr. Pepper. I don't know what that is, but we'll try it. Unless it's like, I don't know, something nasty or gay. But if we got 25,000 more subs to go, chat, let's make it happen. RC Cola is better than Dr. Pepper. Yeah. It's boiled. Ew, who would eat that? Who would eat that? Or drink that? That sounds disgusting. Yes, hold on one second, chat. RC Cola is sugar water. It's all sugar water. That's all pop is. Really? They're all sugar water filled with carbonation and phosphates that damage your body. Like, they're all bad for you. Let's be real. They're all bad. Like, come on, chat. It's all goy slop. I'm just honest enough to admit it. Yes, RC goes fat very, very quickly, which is sad. It's all sad. All right, chat. Moving on from there. Moving on from there. This one was kind of interesting. So, out in the Western District of Michigan, there was a complaint that was filed. And it's only now that this caught headlines because the court made a ruling. And the court's very much not happy with this. So this is a complaint that was filed back in April. And you notice some things about it. This is going to have some weird fonts on it. But it's filed back in April. Beginning of April here. So about a month ago. So April 2nd, 2025. No, and this isn't like a styling thing the computer printed out. They made that font red. And then they did this. Yeah. And we're going to get to, it gets even worse, Chad. It gets even worse. It gets, we're not even to the, we're not even to that part yet. We're not even to the good stuff yet. Okay. So, we are not even there. Now, as you can see, this part is a little weird because like your cap, like this doesn't look like a normal caption. And guys, what I mean by the caption is, this right here is a good example of a caption. And I hate to be all spurgy about it, but this is just so you guys can understand it. Like, it's nice and clean. It's broken up. You can tell. Basically, you can tell there's the case. Here are the parties. Here's the case number. Here's the judge. Maybe what you're doing down there. That's what you should have in a complaint. That's what you should have in a complaint. But these guys just, everywhere. Just kind of shit all over the place. They also are signed by the Dragon Lawyers, PC, by Jacob Perron. He's an attorney for the plaintiff. He's out of East Lansing, Michigan. 844 Jake Law, which, okay, the phone number part is pretty good. I'll give him credit on the advertising part of that. Like, that's pretty good. Like, that's clever. I'll give you points for that. Like, this 844 Jake Law, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But if you notice, when we zoom out, chat, here is the problem. Maybe this guy is listening to Nick too much, but there's a watermark, chat. There's a watermark. There's a watermark. How does this work? Now, you can't, like, okay, yes, it would be cool if a real dragon was your lawyer, yes. But that's like having the lawyer dog. That's like having the lawyer dog as your lawyer. Yes, they went pretty deep with the color palette on this thing. And speaking of, come here, bud. Hi. Hey. You come here? Hey. Come here. Come on, Bob. Come on. He's just standing there wagging his tail at me like, come on, fat man. I'm like, come here. Come on. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to turn away and I'll put my hand down. I'll go like this and he's going to come run up and yeah, now he's walking over and start licking my hand. So as this goes though, I mean, they then have down here now comes with the plaintiff. That's in colors. That's in a color. And notice every page is watermarked. Now I will say from here, this like the formatting on this, as long as that's compliant with how they do things normally, it's okay. Here's the problem though. When you do a complaint and you have massive paragraphs like this, remember we've gone over this before. And like, in the Destiny complaint, when Pixie's attorneys put a bunch of shit in a paragraph, all you can say is if one part of this isn't correct, denied. We disagree with it. So that's the issue. The rest, like here, yeah, you can't like do in colors like this. No, can't do that. When you get to these parts here, for some reason they forgot to space that out, which I don't know what they meant to do there. They also are not justified in alignment, which they should already get punished for that. Remember, chat, justified alignment is for everyone. It is love. It is life. Now, the rest of it's not too bad. The rest of it's not too bad. But it's that, I mean, to be fair, though, this is like everywhere, and this is a problem. And then once again, it's in purple. Once again, it's in purple. So, so overall, like, that's an issue. And you might think, oh, we maybe only did it once. Only one filing in this case. Nope. There was another filing in this case. And he did it again. He did all of this again. He did all this again. He did all of this again, ruining the caption. And once again, he did the watermark all over again. And it was the motion to leave to proceed under a pseudonym. Now, this is what case this is? This is a 1983 claim against against sheriff's deputies and people involved in jailing someone. But once again, he does the purple and the red fonts, and like here's the dragon unobstructed. If you guys want to see it, there you go. Now this part here, I don't think that's a problem. Having the Dragon Lawyers PC, award-winning lawyers. I kind of like that. That's nice and quiet at the bottom. But you'll see this other times when attorneys file stuff. They'll have shit running up and down the sides of the documents. That's not a big deal to me. This right here, I think that's okay, actually. Personally, I think that's fine, style-wise. But the rest of this, it just, once again, Dragon Lawyers to do it all this way. Also, when you do this here, you should, it should be, you have font requirements, and that's way too big, probably for the Western District of Michigan. You probably also need to scritch it in, at least indent it a little bit. But as he goes through, once again, chat, you get all this stuff here. So, I know it's not justified, J-Rock. Is this David's work? Yes. David, MLS, why did you do this? We know this is your law firm, David. This is really MLS every day. This is really MLS every day. Is this the firm's first filing? No, I don't think so. So it's a little interesting how they do stuff. How they do this. And with that said, though, the federal court got involved, and the federal court had to have a heart-to-heart about this. And it was kind of because it probably wasn't their priority, but they filed it a couple days ago. The federal government, or the federal court's yeah, we need to take a look at this. This is, yes. David explained, yes, why have you always been this way? Now, what happened here? Well, the judge got involved, and he's not in. Once again, chat, this is a proper caption. That's how you should do it. And you'll see, I actually, this is a proper caption here. You can separate it out and figure out what's going on. So we have an order striking the complaint. So as he says, each page of the plaintiff's filing each page is dominated by a large multicolored cartoon dragon dressed in a suit, presumably because she is represented by the law firm of Dragon Lawyers PC, copyright award-winning lawyers. Federal 12F1 allows a court to strike from pleading an insufficient defense or any redundant, immaterial, pertinent, or scandalous matters. Use of this dragon logo is not only distracting, it is juvenile and impertinent. The court is not a cartoon. Accordingly, it's ordered that it is stricken. Plaintiff is directed to file an amended complaint containing the same allegations without the cartoon dragon by no later than May 5th. It's further ordered the plaintiff shall not file any other documents with the cartoon dragon or other inappropriate content. Well, I mean, yeah. And if you guys didn't know, you guys can actually go to their website. And apparently, I guess the guy's a furry. I'm not sure if he is. But they do exist. They are a real firm. They do criminal, divorce, estate planning, driver's license issues. Yeah, so they do quite a bit. Good stuff. I mean, that alone, I have no reason to believe they're not competent. It's just, that's a little embarrassing to get called out like that. But I get it. You know what? There's, I'm sure they do a decent job. I'm sure they do a decent job. I think it's a little like I do feel bad they're getting called out like that. And some of you guys are saying he got a Yelp review. That doesn't mean shit because people on Yelp leave shitty reviews for everything all the time. Like, oh, my lawyer fucked me over. It's like, you got on camera buying drugs or whatever it is. So I don't really trust them. Now, I will say, chat, this gave me an idea from thinking about things here. So, I do have a, hold on here, chat. I need to fix something. Hold on here. Why is this not working? It gave me an idea. Chat. It was very impressive because I was looking at it and I was like, I have an idea here. I have an idea of my own for things. And I looked at stuff and I'm like, I looked at my own filings, and for example, I went over and just checked out, like, this is an example. This is like my sample discovery demand I put out. And I was looking at this and I'm like, this seems kind of boring. So, I mean, look, I'm just asking for all kinds of stuff here, anything important, all kinds of stuff, Brady versus Maryland, all this stuff. Who really cares? Who really cares about, like Brady or Bagley or Kyles v. Whitley or Giglio? No one cares about gay, boring. No one cares. Anything about, people being, CIs or confidential informants, anything provided to benefit them. No, you know what this really needs? You know what I need to do to punch this up? There's a way we could punch this up, chat. And there, let me tell you, this is how we're going to file stuff from now on. This is how we're going to do it. Everything is going to be this way. This guy's inspired me. We're going to do me and Clyde on every page. Look at this, chat. This is like amazing. I don't think the courts are going to have a problem with this going forward. I mean, I got to file a notice of appearance tomorrow. So, like, maybe I'll try that. See what happens. Yes, contrast crisis. The image is too small. Yes, this is an incredible amount of legibility. Now, here's the thing. I'm sure if I filed this, I would, because the way, in the one county I'm in, I'll file it. I'll file it with the clerk, and then I have to serve a courtesy copy on that courtroom. And they have like a special email for that courtroom where all the documents go. I'm sure I'm going to get a call within about 20 minutes from the clerk saying, what the fuck is this? And then I'm sure I'm going to get a comment from the bailiff saying, what the fuck is this? But yeah, they're going to be like, are you okay? Are you okay? Oh. Yes, it's a watermark. I know, it's my watermark. But it gave me some ideas. Chat. We could do this. Start filing. I got a appeal I'm working on coming up that's going to be due. Drop that in my appeal motion. That's just going to be great. They'd ask why you used AI. Oh. Yes, they're going to say, wait, how cute. Wait, there's a filing here? They're going to be like, yeah, are there panda hats? Yes, J-Rock got me and Clyde little panda hats. They had like a little hat for Clyde and I had the panda hat on. Yes. What if you just made that the last page? I'm sure I would still be in trouble. They wouldn't recognize me. The beard isn't white. I would have to figure out how to recolor that. So, because the watermark changed colors a little bit when I watermarked it. An AI bear is silly. No, that's Clyde under there. Use it for dead spaces at the bottom of the pages. Make it the cover. Chef Clyde is playing Sonya and Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't win. Oh. So, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't know if he's done that other places or whatever it is. I'm not, I mean, fuck it. Why? Like, maybe he does that other places and nobody gives him shit about it. I don't know. I'm not going to give him shit about it. Like, it's kind of interesting. It's interesting and funny. And I'm not making fun of him, but just the whole situation's hilarious. So, Nothing wrong with you can laugh at it. Send the clerk a free Clyde magnet. That would be funny too. So don't do that, chat. Don't do it that way. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. And also you just don't want to piss off a federal judge. But yeah, we're gonna have to confront David about this. David Helm, why are you doing this, sir? He'll blame it on a new paralegal. No, I don't think he will. I think he intentionally put it on there, and that's okay. Like I said, I think the stuff at the bottom is cool. I like that idea. But I just, I don't know. Maybe you could have done it a little quieter or done a little less. My alfalfa here? What? Oh, jeez. That's all right. I'm getting my haircut tomorrow, so we'll take care of it. Yeah, so we're not going to talk about bad dragons. Yeah, we're not doing that. At least it wasn't an AI picture by Anime Sucks Cope and Seed. I know. It wasn't a fat dragon eating pizza and farting. Could he have done a lighter watermark? Yeah, but I think even then the federal court probably would have crushed it. But it probably would have been a lot easier to skate by with a black and white or a grayscaled watermark. So, Aaron Amin says, no, Sean. Nick Ricada said I could put any watermark I want. Yes, put Laney and Clyde on there. I thought about doing that. You could put things in federal filings, Sean. No corner logos included. Oh, really? That sucks. Okay. Is the judge having flashbacks of chasing the dragon? No. So that sucks. Yeah, well, I don't do it. Like I said, I'm going to be hopefully start doing federal stuff by the end of the summer. So I got to get all my classes done for that, which will be kind of fun. Looking forward to that. I kept on saying I was going to do it and do it and do it. Now it's like I've been 10 years into this and I haven't done it yet. So you're waiting for the banner ads and court documents. Yes. Yes. And then, you'll get banner, or I'll start putting ads in my filings. Court's going to be like, who is the Dragon's Treasure? By the way, chat, remember dragonstreasure.com. Help out the team and show him some love out there, chat. He would really appreciate it. I would appreciate it too. Help him out. But we'll put these ads all over the place. Judge is going to be like, sir, we're in Ohio. Why are you talking about a bar in Minnesota? Oh. Yep, put the Stonies ad on there. Yep. Yes. Evan says, yes. Well, that'd be a PWR thing. Bunch of hot young dudes. The PW Army's representing. Hot young litigants in your area want to chat. Yes. Imagine people submitting animated GIFs as their filings. Oh, that would be funny. That would be funny. So don't do that, chat. Don't do that. I don't recommend it. I do not recommend the thing like that. Now, moving on from there, this one's going to be interesting as this starts showing up, as we learn more and more as the case starts progressing. But a Wisconsin judge in Milwaukee got suspended because she got charged federally. And what was she charged with? Well, she was in court and a guy came in who is a native of Mexico, and she learned that there are ICE agents out here getting ready to deport him and arrest him. Well, what did she do? Well, she decided to let them sneak out the side door and basically kind of hide them from him as they ran off. And they had to chase him down and arrest him. So she got charged federally with obstructing things. And we're going to go through that complaint real quick in a second here. But the Wisconsin Supreme Court suspended her for being involved in this, even though she hasn't been convicted yet. Will you do updates on Destiny and Logan Paul? Yes. Destiny, there was a order for a TRO that was put out. I don't think it's going to work because it's already been so late in the case. I'm assuming the court's going to rule on it, but I don't know if it has yet. And Logan Paul, yes, as well. Are you talking about his lawsuit with the CoffeeZilla, Iram? But there's those are two of them. and I think I'm actually going to do this real quick, guys. So, you know, I'm thinking about doing these things going forward where I kind of do like these lawsuit reviews because we cover a bunch of lawsuits, and then I want to do like a show one night, like, you know, where we're like, I go through like 5 or 6 of them, maybe even 10 of them, how fast I can go, but like still pending, dismissed, you know, resolution, settlement, just so we have an update. Because I cover all this shit and then we never touch back on it. So it's something I'm thinking about doing going forward. Now, getting back to this. I haven't unfollowed it. I haven't had a chance to do it yet, so stop. Has Sean ever used a Baldo? No, my dick works. It works. I don't need a Baldo. So anyway, yes, this is Judge Hannah Dugan. Yeah. So anyway, she's accused of obstructing immigration officials. She was removed from exercising her powers as a circuit court judge, which means like a regular judge, while her case moves through the legal system. And it makes sense. She should be relieved of her duties because in order to uphold the public's confidence. Yeah. I mean, if you have a judge who's running around obstructing the police, well, fuck, how does that work? So what did she do, or what she's accused of doing? Well, here's what happened. Because she interfered with federal agents, guess what? We go to federal court. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. And I will say, when you are doing, and this is something, chat, for y'all to remember, if you're going to act like you're in La Resistance, be prepared for punished like you're being in La Resistance. You know, that's what happened. Resistance fighters generally met a bad fate if they got caught. So that's what happens. You play resistance games, you get resistance fighter prizes. This is one of them. You want to actively resist, this is what happens. So yes, suffer. That's the fate. Now, thankfully, she's not getting put against the wall or hung with piano wire, but you guys want to talk about being in La Resistance, you should read about like the French, the Maquis that were fighting, like Violette Zebo. Like she held off a bunch of Germans with a frickin' Sten when she got caught. It was part of an SOE drop that got busted. And she met a horrible fate. But, you know, that's resistance. This is just nonsense. So anyway, there's a criminal complaint that on or about April 15th, she committed 2 separate crimes. She concealed an individual to prevent his discovery or arrest and obstructed or impeded a proceeding before a department or agency in the United States. Oh, wow. It's kind of like, you know, I'm pretty sure some January 6th people got fucked over with that too. Oh, womp, 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 womp. I'm sure she thought it was base those January 6ers were getting done. But anyways, there's a couple FBI, you know, an FBI agent here, Lindsay Schlomer. Now she talks about her criminal complaint, her background experience. Don't care about any of that. I'm a CPA in the FBI. Nobody gives a shit. I'm currently assigned to a white-collar crime squad. Okay. We'll see what that really does for you. Anything here. The purpose of the affidavit, though, is that Hannah Dugan obstructed a agency. Now, what did she do? So on March 18th, a guy named Eduardo Flores Ruiz, born in 1994, was charged in Milwaukee Circuit Court with 3 counts of domestic violence, you know, battery, domestic abuse, infliction, physical pain or injury. Why don't we just call it domestic violence, okay? Doesn't sound like, you know, that's not good, not good. So anyway, agents from DHS and ICE, the Enforcement and Removal Operations, ICERO, could almost call it like Cicero, identified Flores Ruiz as an individual who is not lawfully in the U.S. A review of his alien registration A file indicated he is a native and citizen of Mexico, and that he had been issued an I-860 notice and order of expedited removal by the U.S. Border Patrol in January 2013. and that Flores Ruiz was thereafter removed to Mexico through the Nogales, Arizona port of entry. So how did he get back? Well, there's no evidence in the A file or the DHS indices indicating he sought or obtained permission to return to the United States. Ah, imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine that. Okay. The Milwaukee ICE office determined through biometric fingerprint comparison, and that is the one thing I will say, chat. The government's been really good about collecting all the biometric data of these people, getting fingerprints, retinal scans, all that stuff, so they can't hide and say, oh, it's not me. Now, I will say that is the downside and the side effect of like the war on terror, because that is how we did stuff in Afghanistan or in Iraq, when we would capture people and encounter people who were being suspected of being in groups. We'd, take their biometric data, which included like retinal scans and digital fingerprint. So then if we caught them later, we've already run into you somewhere else. Why are you here? So this stuff is kind of like, yeah. So anyway, the fingerprints hit and he had to be removed. So on April 17th, an authorized immigration official found probable cause to believe he was removed from the United States, was removable, and issued a warrant for his arrest. The warrant provided, you are commanded. Now, here's an authorized immigration official. Is that a judge? Is that an administrative law judge? Is that just somebody in ICE? That part's going to be a little issue. Who is that? We don't know. This might be an argument she can make. Who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this? There's probably going to be some more discovery on that as we go forward. You are commanded to arrest, taken into custody for removal proceedings under the INA. And we talked about this before in the Trump streams. The above-named alien, upon his arrest, would be given a notice of intent decision to reinstate a prior order. He would then have an opportunity to contest the determination by making a written or oral statement to an immigration officer. So, meaning he would get some due process. Notice, they're including that now. They're specifically including the whole thing of he's going to get due process just to placate the courts from having a soggy tampon. So, kind of interesting. Kind of interesting there. Let me see here. What do you guys... Hold on. What am I looking at here? Somebody just like flashed up a bunch of shit there. So, anyways, they go on forward. They found out he was going to attend a hearing on April 18th. And it says the hearing was set to take place in front of Judge Dugan. And then based on the information above, they traveled to the courthouse with his arrest warrant for the purpose of executing the warrant. Now, this is where she says, I'm aware law enforcement routinely executes and makes arrests in the public areas of buildings such as the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. They'll pop you on warrants that you have. The reasons include not only the hold on here, guys, real quick. The reasons for this include not only the fact that law enforcement knows the location, but also the fact that one individual will have entered through a security checkpoint and is unarmed. And that's true. And as such, they developed a plan to capture him outside of courtroom 615 following his scheduled appearance. Now, why would they do it after? Because if they did it before, the judge could say, no, I want to see him. And instead, it's easier to get him after he gets out. So, she does point out, I'm aware that there were 2 prior arrests made of individuals who were not lawfully present in the U.S., had received public attention, and both incidents involved individuals who have been charged with criminal offenses, but who were not in custody and appearing for scheduled hearings. And pursuant to those policies, they were focusing resources on apprehending charged defendants making appearances. They were not attempting to arrest victims, witnesses, or other individuals appearing for matters in a family or civil court. So they were just sticking on if you were a criminal defendant. So they show up. 6 members of the task force showed up. And this included a deportation officer, Customs and Border Patrol officer, and FBI agents, 2 of them. and 2 DEA agents. The agents were dressed in plain clothes and intended to effectuate the arrest in as low-key and safe a manner as possible. And at 8 a.m., they presented their identities and explained that they wanted to make an arrest. They were asked not only to show their credentials, but also their badges. The security guard said, well, I got to talk to people. And they spoke with the sheriffs. They discussed the details of the plan and how they were going to arrest them. The sergeant asked that arrest to wait till after the completion of the scheduled court hearing. And they said, sure, we'll wait. We could wait. And they were allowed to proceed up there. So what happened from there? Well, we get to the actual story here. So as they get up there, they advise the courtroom deputy that they were there to arrest him. They displayed their credentials to the deputy, informed him they were there to assist ICE in arresting. They said we would arrest afterwards. The agents left the courtroom and took positions at different locations in the hallway. Now, I have had clients before where we're there and all of a sudden they get smacked with a warrant on the way out the door. That happens a lot. And in fact, I had one of those happen where some fucking shitbag, I think I talked about this last week, some fucking shitbag fucking children's services workers fucking called in a fucking warrant that they knew my client had. And they called the local police and they showed up there and they notified the bailiffs out front about everything. I didn't know she had a warrant. And well, she didn't either, but also she didn't show up for court, so I was not really surprised. But either way, they fucking did that. Like, that shit happens all the time, and it's fucking infuriating. Infuriating. Stacey says, why are my clients a piece of shit? No, she's not a piece of shit. She's actually a pretty good woman. Just had a bunch of shit happen to her. She's trying to catch up on. So anyways, they interviewed the deputy who corroborated above information. The courtroom was open at 8:15, and everybody began checking in for the matters that were scheduled that morning. And the courtroom deputy received a list of individuals that day, and they checked in defendants while attorneys checked in with the clerk. Yeah, which that's normal. That's normal how this stuff works. The courtroom deputy explained at 8:15. Oh, hold on, chat. What are we doing here? Uh-oh, I'm just missing me. So the agents advised they were working with the ICE and they were going to arrest them. And they asked the agents to wait outside. So everybody left the courtroom again. So the FBI just came in. They said, get out and wait. And the FBI agents are like, okay, we'll wait. Did someone say, I'm in your house? Oh my God, if somebody said that, I would just be like, let's fucking go. Let's go. Oh, you don't have any idea. That would be so fucking fun right now. I'd be like Rubber Band Man, dude. I'd have a 9 in my right and a 45 in my other hand. Oh, I'd be fucking looking. I'd fucking A, dude. Let me tell you, buddy. Let me tell you something. Hopefully they got a fucking GoPro on, because that footage will be epic. I'd live stream it. I'd get up from here and you'd hear me walk through the house. It'd be great. So eventually they had to be notified if there were ICE agents in the building. So that had to happen. While they were waiting, a woman approached and took photographs of the arrest team members. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with walking around saying, hey, look, there's a bunch of fucking cops here. There's also nothing wrong with, like, if I knew that they were looking for somebody and I looked on the list and said, oh, hey, my friend Bob is coming in as an attorney with clients, I'd probably call my client and be like, hey, man, I think the feds are here to arrest your client. You might want to figure something out. I'm going to tell them, hey, man, run away from the cops. So the individual taking photographs of the agents has been identified by multiple witnesses, an attorney employed by the public defender's office. Nothing wrong with that. Fuck yeah. Suffer, feds. Suffer. Would there be doom music in the background? Yes. Oh, it'd be great. So the team members observed Flores Ruiz arrive on the 6th floor of the courthouse. He was greeted by his attorney and the two entered courtroom 615. So eventually the judge learns of this. For example, a courtroom deputy indicated that when he arrived, the judge was already on the bench and conducting proceedings, which that's normal too. This sounds like a courtroom where they do what's called like a cattle call, where just like the docket's just running and people are coming in and out. If you guys ever watch on like Dolly or some of these other channels who cover like these judges who run their courtrooms, like the Judge Fleischer guy down in Texas, does kind of like a cattle call thing where it's like an open call. You come in and handle your dockets as they go, and people show up and leave while court's going. It's not like a hearing, clear out the room, hearing, clear out the room. So the courtroom deputy observed the attorney, the public defender, enter and approach the judge's clerk. The attorney stated there appeared to be ICE agents in the hallway. Attorney A told the clerk where the agents were seated and what they were wearing. Nothing illegal there. The courtroom deputy reported the clerk then got up to talk with the judge. The judge became visibly angry. Comment of the situation was absurd and left her bench and entered the chambers. She went to go read, chat. The judge went to go scream, "Ree." Scott said, "Come much Dolly in morning." Yeah, there we go. Judge Fleischer is great. Yes. So at the time, Flores Ruiz was sitting in the gallery. Another individual, Attorney B, who was working as the assistant prosecutor, says, according to Attorney B, there were approximately 8 criminal cases, including his, scheduled for pretrial hearings that morning. Attorney B was aware the victims of Flores's case were in the court. While Attorney B was preparing for that morning's docket, Attorney B heard someone announce, "ICE is here." Shortly thereafter, Attorney B heard Judge Dugan say that she was going to call the chief judge before leaving the courtroom. You know, don't fucking talk to the cops. I get it. He's a prosecutor, so he's like, they're on my side. No, do not talk to the fucking cops. Never talk to the cops. Don't fucking help them out. So the members of the arrest team reported the events after Judge Dugan learned of their presence and left the bench. Judge Dugan and Judge A, who were both wearing judicial robes, approached members of the arrest team in the hallway. And this is where things happen. If this happened like this is where we get into issues. Judge A's courtroom is located adjacent. The witnesses said that the judge was upset and confrontational. She addressed the deportation officer and asked if he was present for a court appearance. When the officer said no, Judge stated the deportation officer would need to leave the courthouse. Which I will give her credit for. That's a pretty base way of doing it. Do you have business here? No. Get the fuck out. It's my courthouse. I'll give her credit. That's based, fighting a Fed. The deportation officer stated that he was there to effectuate an arrest. He asked if the officer had a judicial warrant. And he said, no, I have an administrative warrant. So once again, is that a warrant signed by an immigration judge or just somebody in the ICE office? That's the reason why I brought that up before, chat. You need to see what type of warrants are there. Judge Dugan stated that he needed a judicial warrant. I don't know if he had a judicial warrant, I think she still would have bitched and moaned anyway. They told him that the deportation officer was in a public space and had a valid immigration warrant. Judge asked to see the warrant and deportation officer to show it to her. She then demanded the officer speak with the chief judge, and then had a similar interaction with the FBI and the other agents. And after finding out they were not present for a court appearance and that they were with ICE, she ordered them to report to the chief judge's office. Well, that doesn't fucking work. You're not like... Now, if these guys are out in the hallway, she does not have the authority to tell them to go somewhere. No, Michelle, she's not a Fed. She's a state court judge. Sweet Tooth saying, you're confusing me here, Sean. Fuera or no fuera? Yeah, she then threw it on the ground after reading it. See, I don't think she has the authority to tell those people to report. She's not in her courtroom. She may be in the courthouse, but that's not her courtroom. She does not have authority like that. Which I think is fucking hilarious. I hope they told her to fuck off. The Judge A then escorted members of the arrest team away from 615 down the hall through a set of double doors toward the reception area of the chief judge's office. DEA Agent B, who was not recognized by them as being part of the arrest team, remained outside courtroom 615. So you're like, huh. The one guy who's just sitting there like, he's like, I'm being stupid. He's like, I'm a sneaky snake. The super sneaky. You know, fucking sneak factor of 1,000. Just hanging out. He's just underneath the cardboard box. Just doot. So the courtroom deputy observed a portion of the above described events. Shortly after the judge was advised, the courtroom deputy left the courtroom to look for an unrelated defendant. The courtroom saw the judge in her robe in the public hallway telling one of the agents he needed to go talk to the chief judge. She appeared angry and was walking quickly. As soon as the agent entered the courtroom, the chief judge's vestibule area, the waiting room areas, the anterooms, the courtroom deputy saw Judge Dugan walk down the hallway and entered a locked door. And she says, I'm familiar with the plan, and I believe that entered to a non-public hallway from which she could access her courtroom and chambers. Which there are, if you guys have ever been to court, you'll see, like, outside of courtrooms, there's, like, other doors. Some of those doors are to the judge's chambers. Sometimes there are other restricted areas which you don't get to go to. So the DE agent said that the one who was being a sneaky snake said he had not been recognized and reported she walked around the hallway and appeared to be looking for additional agents. Once inside the office of the chief judge, they showed the judge his credentials and the administrative warrant. Judge A asked the judge's clerk to make a copy of the warrant and asked whether the judge is available. The clerk advised that the chief judge was not in the building, but advised he was on the phone. And it says at that point the judge left and the deportation officer went inside a more private area of the judge's office to speak. During their conversation, the chief judge stated he was working on a policy which would dictate locations within the courthouse where ICE could safely conduct enforcement actions. Which I'm sure that's not going to be set up in a way where, like, people could circumvent it, but he emphasized those actions should not take place in courtrooms or in other private locations. Well, they said, well, what about a hallway? And the chief judge said hallways are public areas, which, okay, cool. Well, the judge expressed the interest in talking to the ICE guys. The deportation officer provided him contact information to the proper people. So while this was all going on, they waited inside the vestibule area outside the office. DEA Agent A departed the area after a short while. The courtroom deputy then approached the remaining arrest team members and stated the courtroom deputy was not the one who notified Judge Dugan about their plans. The deputy's like, I don't fucking want, I want to help y'all. So the deputy also made the comment about Judge Dugan pushing the case through, which the arrest team interpreted to mean she was attempting to expedite the hearing. So now we get to what happens and where she commits her fucky wucky. So they described their observations after she returned. For example, the courtroom deputy recalled that upon the return to the courtroom, defense counsel was talking to the clerk and Flores-Ruiz was seated in the jury box rather than the gallery, which isn't probably how it normally goes. That's why it's being noted. And I'm not going to lie, chat, if I was Flores' attorney, here's the deal, chat. If, like, right now I was his attorney, I'd be like, oh shit, there's ICE guys outside. How the fuck do I get him out of here without getting him arrested? If I know that there are police out there with a warrant for my client, how do I get him out of there? So I have no beef with the attorney. I have no beef with the public defender. They're all doing, it's all in the game. They do their job. I do mine. Their job's to take people down. My job's to prevent that. The courtroom deputy believed counsel and clerk were having an off-record conversation to pick the next court date, which is very common and very normal. Would I do it illegally? No, but would I bend the rules if I could? Sure. Defense counsel and Flores-Ruiz then talked to each other and walked toward each other and toward the public courtroom exit. The deputy then saw Judge Dugan get up and heard Judge Dugan say something like, wait, come with me. Uh-oh. Despite having been advised of the warrants, she then escorted them as counsel out through the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse where the jury room is. These events are unusual. First, the courtroom deputy had previously heard Dugan direct people not to sit in the jury box because it's exclusive to the jury's use. Yes, you can't just sit wherever the fuck you want. Second, according to the courtroom deputy, only deputies, juries, court staff, and in-custody defense being escorted use the back jury door. And that's going to be common too. Also, you're not just going to, like, the judge is not just going to invite you and your client through a back door like that. You know, you might have a hearing in chambers, but generally you're going to have court security there too. But she says that, you know, defendants and people who are in custody never use the jury door. The prosecutor similarly explained after returning to the courtroom, the judge forcefully motioned for the attorney and a male she did not know. and he had never met Flores, to approach. The attorney appeared to be confused by the judge's gesture, but complied, and then the judge commanded the attorney and the male to leave through a back door. Shortly thereafter, she came back to the courtroom and conducted hearings on that docket. Now, here's the thing, because the judge has said we're just going to continue it out and pick a new date. Those off-the-record continuances, things like that happen all the time. That's not a problem. That's actually pretty normal. So, so this part's not a problem there. This part's not a problem. This part's where it's getting to be bad. What the attorney's doing, not a problem. What this judge is doing, yeah. Later that morning, Attorney B realized the case had never been called and asked about it. They learned the case had been adjourned, meaning continued. This happened without his knowledge or participation. Suffer, prosecutor. Suffer. He was present to handle the case on behalf of the state, and even victims were present in the courtroom. Suffer, victims. Suffer. The victim... See, I'm very torn, chat. There's so many narratives here where I'm like, yeah, and they both don't work together. I'm torn. I'm a man of conflicted duties and loyalties. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And real quick, chat. I think we need to address this. I think it's something we need to address because it's about that time tonight, and we were. Let me see if I can bring this up. Where is? Well, chat, I will just tell you, it is almost 11. Actually, right now, it is 11 Central Time. And there's still no stream today. Just something to think about. And it's hard because I was like, oh, I'm going to check Alyssa, what she's got here. But there's like a million videos in the meantime. Yeah, here we go.
It's almost 11. And there's still no stream. And Baldo ain't streaming tonight.
Just wanted to get that out there. Anyway, just wanted to put that out there. No super tips running tonight, I guess. Can't do it. Got hung up at the piano recital. So anyways, a victim witness specialist was employed by the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office. And the victim witness made contact with the victims who were also in court. They were able to identify to Flores based upon the reactions to his presence in court. They also observed Judge gesture towards him and an unknown Hispanic woman. That would probably have been the attorney. Or it would have been the interpreter, probably the attorney. Based on the statements, they believe it was his attorney. So the victim advocate came out there and they were concerned because he hadn't been called yet and the victims were waiting. Suffer advocates. There was another attorney who said he was there to represent a client. And here's the thing. Why are you talking? Like, you're an attorney. You have no involvement, brother. You advise case agents. Motherfucker, why are you snitching? Why you snitching, attorney C? Why you snitching? Like, I get it. Afuera. I love the word afuera now. But I ain't going to go out of my way to fucking help law enforcement like that. I ain't see shit. It ain't my job to see shit. Did a real crime happen? No. I ain't fucking getting involved like that. He observed Judge Dugan forcibly direct two individuals, a man and woman, to leave through the door. Attorney C indicated this was done with a stern tone. Am I hiding illegals under my floorboards? Yes. Enemies of the state are under my floorboards. Yes. So, here's how they figure it out. After leaving the vestibule and returning to the hallway, the DEA agent reported that Flores and his attorney were in the hallway. DEA agent B, who was already hiding and still being a sneaky snake, also observed Flores Ruiz. And guys, here's the thing. When you go to these courthouses, there's like benches and chairs in the hallways. So that's like, or the guy was sitting there on his phone, looked like he's waiting for his attorney. Who knows, whatever. So the DEA agent also observed him and his attorney, and they noted that Flores was looking around the hallway. From different vantage points, both agents observed him and his counsel walk briskly towards the elevator bank. Okay. And they know that the south elevators are not the closest elevators to courtroom 615. And it appears that they elected not to take the closest elevator bank, which is a good strategy to avoid getting apprehended, changing your routes. They followed him toward the south elevator bank, and by 8:50, they alerted other members that he was on the elevator with Flores Ruiz. While in the elevator, they spoke in Spanish, which DEA agent A did not understand. They exited the elevator on one of the bottom floors of the courthouse and used the public entrance to exit and leave the building. Having received the above referenced information from the DEA agents, they scrambled to locate him and arrest him. DEA agent B and the other FBI just took another elevator down to chase him. They notified the team that he was in front of the courthouse near the flagpole. They ran towards him, and as they approached, they identified themselves as law enforcement, and he turned around and sprinted down the street. A foot chase ensued for the entire length of the courthouse, and he got apprehended. He was handcuffed and detained, and 22 minutes after they first spotted him, they finally had caught him. So, the deportation officer and the other officer were still inside talking to the chief judge on the phone. So because of that, they charged her with the interference actions. It's like, I mean, she was doing really good until she snuck him out the back door. You're not allowed to do that shit. You know, like she wanted to be lovers his stones. There you go. Don't feel bad for her. Don't feel bad for her. Alice saying, why did this guy think what was going to happen? He ain't black. He can't run the feds. Well, I understand, but people want to try. You got to try. You can't just give up. I get the idea of like wanting to run away. You got to run away. Like, I get it. I get it. It's not like too ridiculous. It's not that ridiculous. So, all right. Okay, and the last thing we're going to get to tonight, this is actually kind of a serious thing. And now she's being in jail, held in jail, will never be a judge again. I know, God forbid it wasn't like a January 6th defendant, because she'd be in fucking jail right now. Thank God that didn't happen. So, Seller says having her own deputies arrest them preempts the feds from doing so. She played it wrong. Yeah, but she can't just go, I'm going to hold you in contempt or enforcing a warrant or revoking his bond, because she doesn't want to put him in jail. And I agree with that idea. I don't want him in jail either. But if you're trying to make the argument of like, I could revoke his bond and therefore he can't be apprehended. Okay, but then you kind of like, you're abusing your, once again, you're still kind of abusing things to make things happen. And that's like, I get that's like from the episode of The Good Wife, but that's not the proper way to do things. So I wouldn't recommend that. Now, have I had a case where I've had a client who's got, like a federal, like a warrant and a federal case going, and instead of him, because he wasn't going to get out because of the federal warrant, we asked to have a cash bond placed instead of a recognizance bond. Yeah, because with the cash bond, he's still being held here locally, so he could still, I could work with him, I could talk with him, he could talk and visit with his family. So yeah, there's times where that might happen, but just immediately throwing someone in custody like that is a little bit goofy. But yes, yeah, he came in, so fuck him. And yeah, imagine tossing your career on fire for this. But oh well. Can't understand normal thinking, as the saying goes. So, now here is a very interesting thing. Now, we talked about this last thing before, and it goes to the California Bar Association and the California bar exam that happened in February. It was a disaster. A lot of people failed. It was a brutal, like it's already a brutal exam, but they had even lower test scores. They allowed people to do a hybrid version of it where you could come in person or you could test at home. And it was a disaster. People who tested at home had multiple problems with the software. They had problems with proctors who were fucking with things and being retarded. So it was really harassment. And even people who tested in person had problems with their software and making things work. It was just an abject disaster. And a lot of people had problems with it. And overall, the test was just bad. What we learned, there's a lot of problems with the test. We learned there was a problem with it. And what happened here? Well, the state bar, the committee of bar examiners, the people in charge of it, they are recommending scoring adjustments. Why? Well, there's some problems. There are some problems that came up. And this is very interesting. This is where it gets to you're like, wait, what the hell happened? Well, the State Bar of California was using AI to generate exam questions, some of them. Yes, so the absolute garbage that occurred. So, 2 months after the prospective lawyers complained the bar exams were shit, well, multiple choice questions were developed with the aid of artificial intelligence. Ooh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. The debacle is even worse than we imagined. Having the questions drafted by non-lawyers using artificial intelligence is unbelievable. Yes. Yes, it is. Some of the questions were recycled from a first-year exam, while others were developed with the assistance of an AI by the contractor. And some of the students said, hey, I think this is written by AI. And yes, here's the issue. AI developed questions written by non-legally trained psychometricians represents an obvious conflict of interest because these guys are tasked with establishing the questions are valid and reliable. Yes. Yes. So they had non-lawyers use AI to draft questions that were given on the bar exam. And then that same company was paid to assess and ultimately approve the questions on the exam. Yes. So, now it's, 100 of the 171 questions were made by Kaplan. It's a testing service. They do LSAT prep and whatnot. And they also do bar prep. They're not the best. Barc-ees the way to go if you could afford it. 48 were drawn from a first-year law student's exam. Okay. And a smaller subset of 23. That's a small subset, but that's still a fucking lot. That's a significant portion. If you bomb 23 questions, that could change your grade. Were made by artificial intelligence. That is the problem here. That is the problem here. It's an issue. Now, ultimately, the California Supreme Court is, that was on the 24th. Here's the 29th. And the California Supreme Court, who's in charge of all of this, has said, hey, guys, let's talk about this. Yeah, that's 13% of the test. Yeah, this is, it's not good. It's not good. So they are, the justices were not informed that the state bar had used AI to do these questions. And they said, how are you guys going to fix this? What actions are you making sure these were reliable? There's all kinds of problems. There's all kinds of problems. What are we going to do with this? Now, why is this a problem? Well, there's the National Conference of Bar Examiners, which are in charge of doing the MBE, the multi-state bar exam, which is a 200 multiple choice you take. It's an entire day-long part of bar exams across the country. There's also the multi-state essay exam, where there's kind of like, it's basically called a UBE now, the Uniform Bar Exam, where you could take the bar exam from state to state to state, and it's all the same. Now, some states still do independent essays. Like when I took the Ohio bar exam, it was, you had 30% of your grade was the MBE, the multiple choice part. And then the rest of it was mainly the essays. And you had 12 essays you had to take over Ohio specific law. But they did this in an effort to cut cost. So the Supreme Court said how and why AI was used to draft, revise, or otherwise develop these questions. Okay, well, what happened here? Well, now we're on to what the bar exam is going to do. The bar examiners are looking at. So they want to adjust bar exam scores. They're going to adjust scores for people. Isn't that great? They want to make recommendations for scoring adjustments to set a minimum raw passing score. You know, they want to now look what they're saying. The raw passing score is 534. Well, that's interesting. Why is it 534 now? Well, I thought they had their psychometricians come through here. And it's below the passing score of 560. It's 2 standard errors of measurement below the recommended. So they're at 534, and now they're going to go, and they were told to do 560. They lowered it even further. Ooh. For missing multiple choice answers, it, you know, whether the test taker answered at least 114 of the 171 questions. For missing essays or performance tests, whether the taker had issued 4 of 6 written sections. I mean, that's the problem, guys. People were missing stuff. They weren't able to answer things. They got locked out of things in the middle of writing or clicking through. There's all kinds of problems. You know, they're like, we will continue refining our approach for a responsive, fair, and equitable process. Oh, yeah, how's that going to fucking work? You know, with so many different experiences, a lack of uniform data, they have a difficult task in recommending a fair solution. Well, what are they going to do? Well, they lowered the passing score as the fairest solution. How bad do you have to fuck it up where you're like, I'm just going to lower the score and let more people in? There's also their non-scoring remedies they're going to try to do. They're going to do provisional licensure, supervised practicing pathway, where you're studying law, reading law, a special admission for attorneys licensed in other states. And those are going to get proposed and dealt with May 9th. There's a proposal to extend a fee waiver for eligible applicants for the July 2025 exam and the 2026 exam in February. So they're like, look, we'll just let you take it for free. And they point out, we apologize for the difficulties many has experienced. I don't think they understand. And if you guys don't understand, taking the bar exam and having it fucking collapse like that, I can't imagine the sheer terror some of those kids experience, because there was a point where I think I've told the story before. I get in there and I walked into the Veterans Memorial Hall in Columbus, and they've got, you know, all these folding tables up, and you had a whole folding table to yourself. You were on this side, like if you were on this side of it, you know, here's your spot in the folding table. Over here on the other folding table, kind of like caddy corner from you, was the other person. So there were only 2 of you, and these tables were shoved together, and they had their own table. From there, I got there, and you could plug your laptop in. They had all the outlets in the ground, like all the receptacles. So I plugged in my laptop, and I turn it on, and you turn on the software, and you log into the software. Once you log in, you can't log back out. They warned you, don't fuck around with it. So I got it all set up. As I'm sitting there, there's a little icon on the bottom of the software. It's saying you're on battery power. I started panicking because I don't know how much battery power I have. What do you mean I'm on battery power? My thing's plugged in. I'm plugged into the converter, and I'm plugged into the box. Well, the girl at the table across from me, she's like, yeah, mine's not working either. And at the tables across the aisle from us, people are like, mine's not working either. Mine's not working either. So, like, here it is. Like, I don't have enough juice probably to get through the whole thing. So we start panicking. Like, we're fucked. Because the way it works is, like, let's say your laptop died. Start fucking writing. Was scary shit. So, like, I'm sitting there, and, like, we're like probably 30 minutes before the bar starts. I'm fucking panicking inside. Like, oh my God, what am I? Like, I'm sweating. Like, it's fucking scary. And there was apparently some sort of break or electrical connection issue. Some of the maintenance guys came over like, oh yeah, we got this. And they fucked around for a minute. It was fixed. But guys, that is so fucking terrifying. The concept of that happened to me and that was terrifying. What happened to these guys is absolutely bonkers. And I remember when I was in law school, there were a couple times you take the exam software that we had, which was a little not as high fancy as the bar software. Every once in a while, somebody had their shit fuck up on them. Now, those were situations where I remember the guy stood up. He's like, professor, I need help. And the professor came over. He's like, look, it's frozen. And the guy started smacking his keyboard. Nothing happened. But he saw the guy had already done like 700 words. And he said, it's okay. He said, go out in the hallway, leave this here. He let him come back and he still had 45 minutes on the test. They worked out something for him where it was fair. But those are the problems you have. How do you make these people work? Yes, ExamSoft. Yes. You posted something in the live chat for me. Thank you, Stabby. We're not doing that. No. Oh, should be a quick stream. 3 hours later, we're not on locals. Yeah, well, we're done. We're done. Danny says computers. We had blue books. Well, the blue books were your backup if shit went down. And at the bar exam, there were a stack. I grabbed 2 or 3 blue books, and I put them on the ground next to me, and I'm like, I don't need you, but I'm hoping you're here in case I do. But I've also heard stories of people, they were at the bar exam, and all of a sudden, fucking computer dies, and the guy walked over, and he was fucked and just went boosh right into the garbage can. So, on a wall says, you're a proctor. Okay. Yes, good proctors, but California in January did not have good ones. No, they were very bad from what I've heard. I've read a couple of different accounts, and it was really ridiculous. So, yeah. So anyways, chat, that is it for tonight. God, I can't imagine how terrifying that'd be. 513 people here still, guys. Thank you. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you're new. I appreciate it. And tomorrow night, chat, we will be finishing up Karen Reed. We'll be starting around 6 o'clock. Tomorrow at 5, Nick Starro is having a birthday stream. I'll go over and hang out with him, have some fun. But that's what we'll do over there. So giving you guys a little bit of a heads up for tomorrow. So Skeeve, and we'll catch up on the chats and the comments here. So Skeeve Man for £5 sterling, but not the King sterling, says, well, if Diddy gets convicted, then he might put in for a transfer to the UK. So he could join Gary Glitter's gang. Or who's that other guy? Jimmy Savile? The guy who worked for the BBC and was raping kids? Or Johnny Savile or Jimmy Savile? Just a you're saying here, just a funny 3 a.m. idea. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Squizgar is saying, I want to be mad at the bug spray guy, but I'm fat and don't eat vegetables, so I'm not really affected. Well, I like bananas, so I'm a little offended by that. Giggle Mango Fanta says the Vegas Golden Knights just cooked the Minnesota Baldos in the playoffs 4-2 as of winning Game 6 a few seconds ago. So let's fucking go. Stuffa, Creator. Stuffa. Yeah, I guess I was hoping they would be like the Cavs and the Timberwolves, so that way the Cavs could win, and I could be like, hi, Stuffa Steel Toe. Because I guess Aaron likes every Minnesota sports team, and I'm like, I don't really like basketball, but to make Aaron and other people suffer, I'll back him. Giggle Mango Fanta says Johnny seems like a perfect Fent reactor candidate. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Torger the White says, when do we get the Mega Base emote? I know. Mikey for $5. Mikey, thank you for being here. I appreciate your support, man. I don't think I've seen you around before, so welcome. Says, I'm surprised the Broccoli Boy did not get charged for his coat hangers, too. I get that joke. I get that reference. Oh, wow. We got a couple more here. EDW Raptor gifting 5 more subs, chat. Squizgar gifting 5 more subs. And Natasha gifting 5 more subs, chat. We got the Switchy Extendo Gold, chat. That's right. We got the Extendo. We got the Extendo magazines, chat. So 5 of you are going to get free Switchies in the mail. Good luck. You know, we hit the goal, chat. We hit it. No cap. No cap. So thank you guys. Victorio says, thoughts on the Shure case. Sucks that Branca's a Baldo washer. Well, I mean, it doesn't change Branca's position on things. I'm sure he said it's a good shoot, and I think so too. Patrick Loyola was a guy running around in a car that didn't have the right plates on it. He didn't have a license and had warrants. Fucking put your hands behind your back and get arrested. I tell my clients this, take your pinch like a man. When you're getting arrested, that's it. That's all you're going to do is get arrested. You can't fight. You're not going to win. If you beat the shit, like you start fighting the cops. So you get in a fist fight with the first cop and you knock him out. Guess what's going to happen? More and more cops are going to come till either they kick your ass and beat you into a coma or they kill you. There's not many ways. There's no ways this ends well. So when you're getting arrested, and here's the other thing too, you never get arrested. It's never a good time. Nobody ever gets arrested and be like, oh, wow, I got like 2 days off of jail, 2 days off of work coming up. So I'll get in front of the judge, won't miss a beat. Kids are already at the grandparents for the weekend. No, there's never a good time to get arrested. So just, you got to take your pinch like a man. Patrick Loyola didn't. He didn't take his pinch like a man. He started fighting. He acted like a little bitch about it. Grabbed the cop's taser, was holding on to it. So Officer Shure pulled out his pistol and just right in the back of his head. You know, you fucking know better. I don't feel bad for him. Sure did what he had to do. Sorry. You know, sorry, Patrick Loyola. You knew what the fuck was up. So, no, I think 100%. He shouldn't be charged. He should be acquitted, but he shouldn't have been charged in the first place. It was a good shoot the whole way through. So, Bob Johnson says, we're now accepting KNU at Stoney's. T from Laos says, use the code Ricada and get 10% off your cocaine. Oh, my God. Gig Omega Fanta says, all right, Haas, the wife has given me an ultimatum of what meat I could choose from to smoke. So I want your opinion. Brisket, short ribs, or a whole chicken? I mean, smoke a brisket. If you haven't smoked one before, smoked brisket's pretty good. I would do that. I mean, if you've already got that on hand, but do you have short ribs on hand, or are you going to want to buy some? But no, I'd smoke a brisket. Brisket, you do a brisket right, like, it can be perfect. Now, some people are going to be like, oy vey, of course he said brisket. You know, Gabe didn't write me a check this week, so I really just mean brisket. Squizgar says, I'm cranking my hog right now, and I don't own a bike. Thank you. Ski Man for £5 sterling. He says, I take it as a no, but does Dragon Treasure ship to the UK? I doubt it, but I would order if he did. Nothing on the site, so I thought I'd ask if you know. I will ask him for you, and I'll let you know. Hold on here. I wonder if he's on right now. I'll message him and say, he might not. I don't know yet. I'll find out for you, though. Justice Smith said, I hear Kirsha is a Yahtzee. Well, I mean, that Vice article, when I read it, I was like, wow, this is pretty based. Like, you know, like it's going to make her sound awesome. Some troon over on Vice is trying to take Kirsha down. So, yeah. Oh, sorry, wrong thing here. Young Hung Hero for $2 says, what do you mean, you people? Stephen Cooper says, thanks for the Dr. Pepper slander for my birthday, May 2nd. You're welcome, Stephen. Okay. Bobby Baloney says the dragon watermark was making me angry and it shouldn't. Sleazy says, all I'm hearing is the courts don't like colored ones. Yes. Berensky says, speaking of lawyer dogs, this guy's DA just hired a dog. Yeah. Oh, Jamie Moodley is saying, as a member for 9 months, is the dragon breaking any specific rules? It will. Oh, yeah. Wildlife saying, PPP even said Sean was fat and looks 20 years a senior. Yeah, I know, but even when I'm skinny, I look 20 years older. The gray does not do me justice in that regard. because I have old man gray now, the way it's all in here. Natasha says, whatever this case is about with the dragon lawyers, all the judge needs to do is roll a d20. It only wins if the judge rolls a nat 20. Done did. That would be funny. That'd be funny if the judge brings him in. It's like, I'll make a roll for it. Squizguard says, on the one hand, the furries get the chipper. On the other hand, anything wrestling a judge's jimmies is funny. Yes. EDW Raptor says, I think a sandwich watermark would do you well as well. Thank you. Maybe I'll try that. Chris DiDio says it's always the white liberal women. Yes. Reformed Comic says she was having a Harriet Tubman moment. And then Iman Razuz points out that I love a good railroad. Guys are awful. And then Stabby, closing it out for tonight, says tonight's local stream theme is dragons and pizza. It's been a member for 23 months. Stabby, thank you for the support, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. So that's not the case, though, chat. No, we are not doing that tonight. So, but chat, we are going straight over to locals. You guys can hang out, see us over there at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Remember, use a promo code WHIPIT and you can join us. It will be a fun time for everybody. Let's see here. Michael Gelke saying, I have Blue Book PTSD and I only did undergrad. Yeah. That sucks. Luke saying we had a bunch of our university courses yesterday, but we had once in a decade windstorm, so campus closed. And that includes the courses I'm tutoring for. And now they've got a 9 a.m. on Monday. Lamau. Well, I guess that helps pushing it back. Are we doing modeling? No, we're going to go over to locals tonight. But guys, we will be using the model bench because it finally we got like over 500 subs there. So we're going to just keep using that going forward for stuff. The damn browser went full Nick right there. Well, remember, chat, it's already past 11 and there's still no stream. So, we're 30 minutes past it and there's still no stream. Missouri Battlefield, please paint and look for my watermark of a flaming cross. Oh. Is the cop guilty or not? No, he should not be guilty. He should not be guilty. It's always brisket. Yes, always brisket all day. Let's see. Oh, the 9 a.m. test time doesn't sound fun, even with the extra study time. Yeah, but I remember in college, I had a couple of them that were like 8 a.m. finals. I was like, that was fucking awful. I remember one of those I woke up I didn't wake up. I was still kind of drunk for. That was one of those fun ones where like you're hanging out. I remember my buddy and I, we went to the bar that was across the street from all the fraternity houses, and we're like, oh, okay, we're gonna hang out for a little while. It was like 7 o'clock. We're like, yeah, we'll have a couple beers. And after a while you start drinking, you're like, oh, it's like 9:45. You're like, yeah, we gotta finish up soon. Then all of a sudden you look over the clock, you're like, oh shit, it's like 11:30. We really gotta get home. And we're like walking across the street, and we're like, God, we are fucking trashed. And then we get home, it's like midnight, and we're like, oh, like if I go to sleep now, I'm never going to wake up. So it's like, well, what are we going to do? So we sat there and had another couple of beers to keep up. And like, I guess I'm playing Halo for a little while. So I took the final. It was great. Oh. You're not a local, so goodbye, everyone. Well, if you join us over there, you can, Skeeve Man. But yes, goodbye in the meantime, and I will find out your answer for you. Peyton Wong says final season for a university. Well, good luck, man. Good luck. All right, chat. So like I said, tomorrow night, 5 p.m., I'll join Nick Starro over at his channel. 6 p.m., we will start Kieran Reed, day 8. Bab says, did I pass the final? I got an A on that final. Oh, it was easy. College was really easy for me. I was the guy who'd show up like I could flip through my book right before it and do really well. Law school is the thing that kicked my ass. College was easy squeezy, though. Was it my comm or was it my history class I did that for? I forget. Either way, it was actually pretty easy. I did all right. So, All right for that. Anyways, chat, you guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. And remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Unless you're some uppity asshole judge who's fucking around, getting in the way of people getting afuera. Don't do that. Let those people take their afuera. Good night, chat.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fact?